All right, now we should be good to go. Let me. Hey, chat. SD gang, how y'all doing? Let's see what we got going on in the chat. Quick disclaimer, okay? Let me go ahead and get this out the way. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Anything you say, anything I say and you hear, come out of my mouth, is alleged and in my opinion, which I am entitled to. Okay? Also, full disclaimer, in alignment with the Copyright Act, okay, that we see down at the bottom of the screen, going across, okay. Now, hey Aisha, I just seen you say something. Okay, let me go back up. There was a comment that somebody left earlier on that I didn't get a chance to read out loud. Let me see if it's still in the chat. I don't even see it, but anyway. Hey Angelique, she say SD in chat. Hey Brent Dainty, hey girl. She say hey everybody. Miss Sexy Ray, shout out to my mod. Shout out to all of my mods that's in the chat. Miss Coco G, shout out to you. Thank y'all for being here. It's been a few days. It's time to catch up on some things. Um, it sounds like Serenity. Hey, how you doing, love? She said, Lord, what are we about to figure out tonight? So much this whole story. Where is Naziah? Exactly. Where is Naziah? That's absolutely correct because at this point, it's ridiculous. It truly is. Mimi, hey Mimi, Karis, how you doing, love? Dari, Miss Chocolate. Hey Natasha, Miss Q, Aisha again. Hey girl. Eris, hey Eris. Takesha, she say SD gang, how you doing, love? Say glad I can catch another live. Yes. Joy comes in the morning. Amen. She say, hey sis, let's get it, SD. Absolutely. Who else I mean say I'm doing my daughter here. I'm listening, but we'll comment later. That's all right. My baby is asleep right now with her head half braided and the other half not. It's a challenge, okay? You say them kids need to be questioned by the police. Absolutely. They just seen a lot, heard a lot. You thought tarot. She say, hey, girl, how you doing? They absolutely do. Okay. So as y'all can tell by the thumbnail of this video, um, over the past few days, I have had a lot of time to just really sit and think about a lot of things around the Naziah Harris case. And, once I get to thinking and I really get to diving deep and I go down that rabbit hole, shit just start not adding up again. Okay. So I was thinking, and this is really no shade to his sister in particular, Jarvis's sister. Her name is Tijuana Butts. Okay. This is absolutely no shade to her personally. Okay. But something about that testimony along along all of them, not just her. Okay. But I feel like there has been especially coming from me in particular, a lot of heat directed towards the Harrises. Okay. And those that were associated with the Harrises that did absolutely nothing to save the children. So Ree Willis, hey girl, how you doing? She say, now y'all know I be in the bushes, but freezer, I had to comment on that. Yeah, that freezer is massive and insane to have in a dining room. Makes no sense. Say, hey, chat. Okay, so as I was saying, there are some things that never really sat right with me with Tijuana's testimony. Okay. She claimed that it's the absolute truth, as they all did. Okay. They were all under oath and they were all supposed to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. But even in that, I've still found some things very odd with her testimony in particular. Again, this is not to take away from the lies that Shannon, that mammy, said on the stand. That's a whole nother video. Okay. The lioness, she say, I got all the shade for her. Just like Marquita. She say, okay, wait a minute. I got all the shade for her, just like Marquita is, Janaya and Shannon, and the other kids' aunt. So is she. Right. Okay. Auntie Mo say, hey. Hey, girl. Tay, how you doing? So basically, I want us to watch her testimony again. Okay. This time I want to focus solely on a few things because I feel like when I originally streamed that testimony from Tijuana, that I was really just listening. I had a lot going on around me, my kids and things like that. And I didn't really pay attention to her body language as much as I should have. And I feel like I missed some things. Like body language to me tells a whole nother story from what a person says out of their mouth. Okay. It's like two different languages happening at the same time. And I want to dive deep into that. Okay. Also, I was told, okay, by one of Nazia's family members. I'm gonna get to the comments in 1 second. But I was told by one of Nazia's family members that Jarvis' sister Tijuana was not that close to Jarvis growing up. I don't believe that. Okay. I don't believe that. There was a photo which I could show you. It's on the thumbnail. Okay. I don't believe that Tijuana was not close to her brother. I don't believe that Tijuana did not know who Nazia was either. Okay. I do know, per Tijuana's words and other family members of Nazia's, that Jarvis was and his other siblings were raised by the grandmother. Okay. The mother was allegedly on drugs and, their grandmother raised them. To my remembrance, I feel like I was also told that Jarvis either ran away as a teenager or something that led this particular family member of Nazia's to feel like um or to believe that he wasn't that close to Tijuana. Okay. Now, I was also told by Nazia's family that Tijuana had a talk with Shannon after Shannon gave birth to Janaya, basically telling her to stop fucking with Jarvis and just take her daughter, raise her, and move on with her life. Okay. I was told that as well. And that Tijuana knew nothing about why Jarvis went to prison the first time, why he went to prison in 2005 till about 2012. Okay. We're going to say 2012 because Jarvis did not do 9 years because the numbers don't add up with when he got Shannon pregnant, which was in 2012. Okay. I was told that she didn't know why he went to prison. She didn't keep up with nothing to do with Jarvis. Okay. Now let's think about the interview of the young lady that came forth on Tootie Uncensored channel. And she was talking about her experience with Jarvis and how he basically tried to kidnap her or abduct her. Hold on. Okay, so okay. Now I because I got a lot of things written down, but a lot of things are off the top of my head. Okay, so the alleged victim over on Tootie's Uncensored channel. She said that that happened in 2005. She was asked by Tootie, who would have known, like who could you say would have seen you to pretty much confirm what you're saying to be true? She said the sister, Jarvis's sister. There's only one sister that the public know about, which is Tijuana Butts, Jarvis's older sister. And I feel like if Jarvis was abducting children allegedly, hold on. Go ahead. You're gonna have to lay it down. Okay, the victim said from 20 years ago, now she's about 38. Okay, so she said that Tijuana would have known. In other words, insinuating that Tijuana was there. Okay, so I don't believe that she didn't know why Jarvis went to prison. I don't believe that she didn't know what type of monster Jarvis was and is. I feel like there were things that she found beneficial to dealing with her brother, and for the simple fact that that's her brother, and people are forgiving of their siblings or family or whatever the case is. Okay, I don't believe that she didn't know Naziah. I don't believe that she didn't recognize Naziah when she seen her at the gas station or shop. Okay, let me look at these comments and let me see. Okay, what's going on? What y'all thinking? She said she wasn't crying because she was ashamed or upset about Naziah. She was crying because she got caught up and now a pregnant teen is missing. Right. I feel the same way. I indeed do. Thank you, Miss Coco. She said hit that like button, y'all. Go ahead and subscribe if you're feeling the vibes, okay? The lioness says she's been up to that shop regularly. She said she would see her nieces up there. And she did say that. So I'm not close to one of my brothers, but I know when he go to jail and the charges, because family talk. you know, family they ain't gonna do nothing else. They gonna tell you about some drama, some gossip or something about somebody else. Unless you are completely no contact, where they have absolutely no access to contact you to tell you the family gossip, right? She say if he was fixing her car for free, that has some sort of bond. Right, exactly. And the way that I remember her saying that he fixed her car for free was like, as a matter of fact, like, duh, I'm gonna wait because he fixed my car for free. The fuck, that, like, that's how it came off. She said she knew not to have her kids around him. I agree with that. I agree. And, I did go to her Facebook post and I'm just going to read it out loud to y'all. I don't have the screenshot. I probably do somewhere, but I'm going to just read it out loud because we know about the post that she made back in January, but there were some comments that she had made basically stating that, brother or no brother, right is right, wrong is wrong, which I agree with, you absolutely should come forward. But she said that the detectives did not have any idea that she was there the day that Naziah was at the shop. She said if it wasn't for her coming forward, they wouldn't have never knew that she was there, even question her or nothing. I beg to differ. I beg to differ because I feel like it would have came out regardless. I feel like once they started to question everybody and who was at the shop at the time, and it would have came out eventually. So I don't feel like only thing she did to me was help them cut a corner to get to her quicker. But I feel like they were indeed going to question her regardless if they was doing their job. She says exactly. She said he fixed her car for free every time. So trust me, they have had some type of bond, right? And she said, "Oh my gosh, the pieces are definitely coming together." Yeah, and it's gonna come together some more because these dates and stuff, they not adding up. I don't believe Jarvis went to prison for 9 years. Some people say 10, but when you do the math and you go back, Janiyah was pregnant. I mean, not Janiyah. Sorry, y'all. Wrong name. Shannon was pregnant with Janiyah. Okay. She had to gotten pregnant April, May of 2012. So 9 months after that, it's about wait, no, because Janiyah's birthday is in June, right? I feel like it's June 16th, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look at my notebook. Either way to go, the numbers ain't numbering. Okay. And even on like the reports, the birthdays that they got for Shannon kids is wrong. They don't add up. They're wrong. Um, some of the family members said that they made reports in 2022. Hey y'all, I see y'all coming in the chat. I'm gonna get to the comments in 1 second. I see y'all coming in the chat. Shout out to y'all. Okay, let me stay on topic. Okay. Yeah, let me stay on topic. So I didn't buy none of them tears. They'll tell you why didn't keep up with him. Then why? How she knows some of his baby mamas and kids exactly. Exactly. You say how she know how to find him when she needs something like her car looked at. How she know where he live, his number, etc. Right? Taikisha say one thing about a sister, we love our brothers. Okay, so I believe she only went to the police because she know they would eventually found out she was there. Right. And she didn't want to look guilty and she didn't want to come off like she had something to do with it. I mean, if you waited and you knew Naziah, okay? Let's not I'm not entertaining the thought that she didn't know or recognize Naziah. I'm not even entertaining that. We have pictures of her holding Janiyah when Janiyah was just a year old. She's been in Janiyah's life all of her life. Naziah has been very involved with Janiyah and at Shannon's house a lot. Okay. She knew Naziah before she knew Janiyah because Jarvis was dealing with Shannon for quite some time before she got pregnant at 18, 19. So she knew her. She knew of her. She seen her. She experienced her. So you knew what she looked like. She didn't look that much different. And you said it was a little girl. So you knew it was a little girl when you seen her at the shop. You knew it wasn't your niece, of course, but you knew who she was, okay? She say, cause they gonna check them gas station cameras, right? Say family always gossip, so she have had to know. Of course. He went to prison for at least 7 years and you didn't know shit. That makes no sense. hmm Coco says, how does Tijuana not know why he went to jail, but she told Shannon to move? Doesn't add up, right? That's because she knew why he went to prison. And like somebody said in the comments, that's more than likely why she kept her daughter away from Jarvis. You say plenty of people placed her at the gas station. It was broad daylight and there were cameras. Sworn to secrecy for personal benefits. Yes, she said it with an attitude as if people knew. We finna get into it. Say sibling dynamics is delicate. She protected him, but covering her own ass too. Right. Robin, hey, she say I'm late. You ain't too late. I only been on here 23 minutes. She say, but they would have found out because the cameras, they were looking at the missing teen. Right. She say, but he could have been sentenced to 10 years, but got out early on good behavior and completing the program. Had to been, Lioness. Had to been. You know, y'all do the math. He went to prison, I believe it was October 2005, something like that, or the year 2005. Okay. Shannon had her daughter, Janiyah, her oldest baby, in June of 2000 and give me the line. Hold up. I make sure it's correct. 2013. So he was released. Had to been released by 2012 for her to get pregnant in 2012 to have a baby in June, right? Go back 9 months from June. We know for a fact at that time she was dealing with Jarvis. My question is, was she dealing with Jarvis while he was in prison? Or does that couple our thought of knowing that lady introduced Jarvis to the family to begin with? And even if that's not true, because I've read, you know, some of the family say they were told that. Okay. So even if that were not true, Marquita still met Jarvis first, which means they had to be before 18, which makes me believe that maybe the Butts family was already connected with the Harris family to begin with. 504, what's going on? She say, hey, SD, did the detective check for cameras at the gas station she walked into? I believe they did check, but I feel like I remember them saying that it wasn't working. She looked just like him. So we know that's his child. I knew she was hiding something. Virgo says, hey, she say, I'm just tuning in. Hey, girl. If she was waiting to be a hero, she should have reported that he was in the presence of a minor, especially the one that's not his. Come on now. Yeah, to see that, Janice. Hey, how you doing, love? That's the thing. You can't say, oh, I want to do the right thing at the end. What happened to 10, 15 years ago? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Someone said Jarvis only said he had 2 kids with Shannon. I looked at her court cases and she has a huge list of filings for paternity. And I honestly was looking at her kids like only a couple of them do look like Jarvis. But we can't go off that, black DNA is unique. Okay, and Jarvis is lighter than Shannon, and Shannon looks, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. We can't go off of what the children look like, but I did look at them personally, and I'm like, I wonder if one of them is really not his. Especially being as though we know that Shannon and her sister were having threesomes with Marquita's boyfriend. So it's not too far fetched. Not saying that he is the father. I'm just saying, just like he was sleeping around, she probably had a little yeah on the side too. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Everybody is on it. They pay hush money. She said that's what they did with my child abuser. He was sentenced to 10, but only did 8. Okay. Because the jail closed down. He was in Lorton, Virginia. If you know, you know about that jail. I don't know nothing about it, but yeah. Hey, Keish. Sounds like Serenity say it's not like Naziah was never around, right? And she was. Go back and look at the pictures. I have so many pictures where it's proof that Naziah had been around quite often, like she was one of Shannon kids. So to say that you didn't recognize Naziah, that's unacceptable. That's straight bullshit. Plain and simple. She said, yes, I believe wholeheartedly she knew who that another particular little girl was, Naziah. And see, that was what was pissing me off. I remember thinking this too when I was watching the preliminary hearings over and over, how they try to make it seem like they didn't really know Naziah. You knew her. Naziah was always at the shop. She had seen her. Yes, she had to. And Takesha say, Lioness cooking tonight. It was 11:11. Okay, in full alignment. It seems like all kids was being sold. They are. If they're not being rescued and protected, indeed, they are being sold one way or the other. Okay, whether they're not, see, it doesn't look like they're being auctioned off like you will auction off a car or product or something, but they're getting a financial gain in exchange for the child. The vulnerabilities of the child is being sold. Put it like that. She said, finally, I've been waiting on somebody to start digging into this family. His entire family is probably just as nasty as the Harris is. And see, that's why I want to talk about this, because birds of a feather. Okay. Families, friends, people. Most people hang with people that they resonate with or have some type of spiritual alignment with. Okay. So I was not too surprised when I was told that lady introduced Jarvis to this family. Okay, there's trauma on top of trauma. Jarvis was allegedly SA when he was 13. Same thing with lady when she was between 11 and 13. I don't think it was a pregnancy that came from that, and if it was, she didn't have that child. Okay, because we know that her children were born in her 20s if you do the math. So that's null and void. But the point is, I feel like they wanted him around. The Harrises wanted him around. Because if they didn't, he wouldn't have been. And I feel like Annette wanted her children to go off and be with some type of man when they turn 18. She even sent Florentino to go be with another man at the age of 18 when he was 26. Jarvis is 11 years older than Shannon. So say she did get with Jarvis at 18. Do the math. He knocking on 30. So she's not against her children going, quote unquote, auctioning off her children at the age of 18. Instead of encouraging them to be go be great, go do something with your life. You tell your kids, go find you a man to take care of you, in other words, which that didn't happen. But I feel like that was the conversation that she might have had with them. It wasn't nothing to help them become, a successful adult. She says, Teresa says she's always wondered why Jarvis' sister didn't ask about who Naziah was. She didn't ask because she knew who Naziah was. See, it's clues like that we got to listen for when they don't say it. It's like, okay, you didn't say that. Okay, you said we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into exactly what she said. So I would have asked my brother who that young girl was because okay, she said she did ask Jarvis. Jarvis said that it was King's niece. Yeah. They must have met at Pier Pal. Right. That's what I'm thinking. Like, was she writing him in jail? Because how he get out in 2012, possibly. Okay, because we don't know if he got out any sooner. It don't say it. When you look up his name, it doesn't say if he got out sooner. It just say the minimum and maximum time and the year he was sentenced. So with that limited information, we have to use context clues like when did he knock up Shannon? Okay. But it could have been a year prior. Then that will set her in the minor range. But either way it go, if she got pregnant in 2012, she was 18. So there's a strong possibility that they were talking before she graduated high school or when she graduated high school. She graduated in 2011. Okay. Somebody left a comment, NYC girl, she said Jarvis got out before 2012. He only did 5 to 7 years on his first crime. That makes sense to me. That makes total sense. He say plot twist, Frank the daddy. Stop. Stop. You was crazy. She say I'm on to something. Yeah, think about these dates, y'all. It just ain't adding up. You say if Jarnell and Kiwana could file CPS, so could Tijuana. Even if they wouldn't do anything, at least get it documented. Exactly. She say, I think all her kids look like Jarvis except one look like her, but she's right. The one that's more yeah, I know which one. The little girl, she does look a lot like Shannon, but they do look like them. They do. Shit. That's why I say we can't really say because ain't no telling with black jeans. She saying they were on and off their whole dealings for years. Right. Mm-hmm. Hey Robert. I see somebody say Robert in the chat. Does anyone know if Naziah actually made it back from Ipsy King knows something? Mm, it's questionable. It's questionable. They saying that the phone that Jarvis's phone pinged him at the hotel. That's the only reason why they believe that Naziah was seen at the hotel and was with Jarvis at the hotel. Someone said today about Shannon had Vari and Naziah till 2023. Well, we know that okay. Actually, Annette had Naziah since she was 2. And Vari since Naziah was 2. So Vari about 4 years older than Naziah, so 6, right? 2 and 6. She didn't get custody until 2016. But is it a possibility that Shannon was babysitting them quite often or they were at Shannon's house until she moved in with Annette? Possibly. There's a lot of pictures on Shannon's page back in the day when Naziah was indeed at her house. Okay, between Shannon and allegedly the so-called evangelist Kenneth, who said he would also babysit Naziah and Vari. Okay, so yeah, last seen at the hotel. Okay, Keish. Say, from what I heard, Annette was the one that first knew Jarvis and brought him around her daughters. And supposedly Jarvis and Annette got to know each other through the child traffickers in that area. Well, that wasn't what I was told. But is it far-fetched? No. That's why part of me feels like the Harris family been knew the Butts family or has some type of connection with them. Possibly. So yeah. Say the Butts family is just like the Harris family, allowing him to get abused by older women and not reporting them. I don't trust them either. The older woman Jarvis had a baby with was his mom's friend. Right. And I looked her up. That lady that was on another channel and they posted a picture and gave her name and things like that. If this the right lady that I seen online, she is about 51. So I know somebody was saying that she was about how old did they say this lady was over Jarvis? Do anybody remember? So you got me thinking, because when he initially interviewed, they brought up the first charges was 2005 to 2015. Interviewed by the police, they brought up his SO charges and he agreed. And see, that's the thing. Even when I'm gonna try to show y'all, even the reports like with CPS, those birth dates that they got for the children don't match. The date that they have on that CPS report when three of the children, including Nazaya, was being touched at the party, that date don't add up either. Okay. I think that party was dated. The report was dated 6/16. I gotta look at it. I don't even want to say the date. I need to make sure. Just a lot of dates that don't match. And that's when things like that, you say she was 26. Okay. So maybe that wasn't her, but it's showing her as 51 right now. And if he was 13, that would make her, I thought she was 10 years older than him. That would make her 23. 23, 26, 20 anything. Hell, late teen is extreme to be having sexual relations with a 13-year-old. Okay. So for me, once certain dates don't add up no more, I'm back to the drawing board, and now I'm back side eyeing the whole case again. Because you say she was 30 here, Eris. Okay, like I don't like when the numbers don't match. I don't like when the numbers don't match. Because now it makes me feel like either I'm missing something or somebody lying. She said, I believe it's a PDF ring. They appointed a pimp to break the young girls in. They merged like it's a business. I'm mad. She mad at all this. It's a mess. It's a shame. She says, is there any video footage of her at the hotel? Any witness statements seeing her at the hotel? Now that I did not see. Right, Coco? He was still a minor. Say no footage of her leaving. Right. It was no footage. How would Nat call herself a God-fearing woman is crazy to me. Depends on what God she's serving, right? She might be. That of the devil. Say Jarvis got out before 2012. He only did 5 to 20. Okay, I saw that one. Coco says, I want to know what was the deal with Jarvis' family, mother, and father. I heard he has several siblings also. What kind of monsters he was bred from? I know I have written down his siblings. It's a lot of them. I think it's like 6 siblings that Jarvis got. I forgot which one of my notebooks I wrote it in, but I definitely got it written down somewhere. But it's not hard to find. If y'all just look up Jarvis' name and you can just go see how many siblings he got. You literally can go look that up real quick. I know I had it in my notebook though, but it's quite a few of them. Like Annette and her kids. Um, some of his origins trace back to New York. Some of it traced down south. So it hasn't been an easy task trying to find out Jarvis's family whereabouts. I do have a picture of his mother as well. But like I said, ain't nothing easy to find. All right, let me go back to these comments and let me pull up her interview. He say, she definitely asks he lied to her. I would like to know is how big her belly was when she seen her, and she said she looked tiny, but I believe she thought because she seen her pregnant, she was what? Oh, how pregnant she was. Okay. I don't know why I thought you had another message behind it. Okay. She can say she asked Jarvis who that was. She can say that all day long. But knowing that you seen a little girl, because it appeared to be a little girl to her, because that's what she described this person as, a little girl. You know that your brother is not supposed to be around children. Hell, he ain't even supposed to be around his own goddamn children. And she's getting in and out of his vehicle, not King's. So again, could she have known who Naziah was? He had one more phone. You say he did 8 years and 2.5 house. He couldn't have did 8 years, Keish. That would leave him at 2013. And then 2 years in a halfway house, it don't really add up because again, remember, Shannon got pregnant in 2012. Okay. Shannon got pregnant in 2012. So he had to been out, and they wasn't doing no conjugal visits. They was never married. So we know that ain't it. Say CPS wouldn't have told her name, so there was no reason to fear reported him. Right. hmm So you can look at his sister and tell that she's very secretive. Not only that, she's calculated. She knew what to say and what not to say, and what to elaborate on and what not to elaborate on. So that lets me know if you have to withhold information, then you got something to hide. Love. That's just how I see it. If you got to withhold information, then what? Then you're trying to manipulate a situation to do what? If you're innocent, you don't need to do that. All right, she says she was 26 when their daughter was born in 1999, and Jarvis had just turned 16, so he wasn't 13. I don't know how old she was when she started at saying him. Either way, it was wrong. So NYC is saying Jarvis was about 16, not 13. Hmm. And that whole church is trifling, nasty people. Indeed. If you ordain a damn SO, something is absolutely wrong with you. Absolutely. See, I saw a comment from a lady who said she used to babysit Jarvis and his sister in New York. Okay. So he is from Detroit originally. All I know is they got ties to New York. Rather his family is originally from Detroit or New York is questionable. As crazy as it may sound, Jarvis also was also as a 12-year-old boy. Right. It's not crazy, Robert, because we know every monster has a monster, you know. You don't they didn't just become a monster just to become one. Normally, usually it's because of something happened to them. Is that to give him an excuse for the abuse that he caused and trauma that he caused other people and their children? No. But when we look at the big picture, we can see how that happened. But it was absolutely Nazia's family responsibility to protect her at all costs, especially being as though her father and her mother failed her to begin with. So it's absolutely imperative that her family protected her by any means necessary. But they didn't. And that's just the truth. Okay. Now leading up into those couple of years before Nazia came up missing tells a different story. But that party that took place, which was in that party where the girls were being touched. I'm gonna have to pull that up. Fuck it. He say, hence the freezer in the Nest house, Mob City, New York. Mm. That's it too, Lioness. That's exactly what I meant to say. That let me make sure I read that. Tashani, Tashiana had a whole conversation with the other brother, and she said Tijuana told him Jarvis had another baby on the way, but Tijuana wasn't close to Jarvis, but she know when he dropping babies, right? Okay. Hey, Angie. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'm trying to stay focused. Let me pull this report up. I'm gonna have to pull it up. Because I feel like they said the party happened in 2017. Do anybody remember what year that was? What year did the party happen when the three girls, including Nazia, was touched by Jarvis? Matter of fact, I got it in my phone. It was 2022. I'm looking at it right now. Okay, so the party happened in 2022. Do I have this on my I got it pulled up here. And then they have the victim as Janiyah. Okay. It's redacted, but you can see the birthday. We know that it's Janiyah because it's 6/16/2013. Okay. Okay, 2022 when they reported it. Okay. Because I'm looking like, wait a minute. Okay. Okay. So see, that's another problem then. That's a problem. Because listen at this. Because if I recall, I believe it was 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yes, because it was a 5-year gap, right? It was 2017 when they say this party took place. A report was made 4/14/2022 by Jernell. Jernell says she made a report in 2022. Okay. That is where I have an issue at right there. If the party happened in 2017, why or how was there a 5-year gap? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down or what? It's just not adding up. And this is why I'm saying why I have a problem with this case again. Like I'm gonna keep having a problem with it because justice hasn't been served. But I don't believe in coincidences. And when you're a person that question things all the time and it's shit don't be adding up, now I'm wondering, okay, it happened in 20, you said it happened in 2022. It didn't happen in 2022. It didn't. Mm-mm. It did not happen in 2022, y'all. I believe that's when certain family members became aware of the party. But I have been told on numerous occasions that the party had happened years prior to 2022. I'm gonna pull up another report, okay, in my phone because I've posted this plenty of times, but let me look at something. Say, hey, how y'all doing? Hey, Jessica. She said, haven't seen you in a minute. Happy I caught you live. Happy to have you here, Miss Jessica. I'm sitting here trying to figure out these dates with the detectives in the chat because something ain't adding up. Timo says all the family that made reports didn't talk to them often and did not stick around for too long. So it was dated when they found out. Well, see, the thing is about that is there's see y'all we gotta go and look at their profile pictures, and particularly Shannon, because Shannon got a lot of pictures. Okay, I know. Okay, now I'm not saying that anybody had anything to do with it. I'm trying to figure out why the gap. Okay, why the massive gap in between the report made in 2022 and the party happening in okay, y'all saying 2018, 2017, 2018. Okay. I I have this information on my phone. Okay. I believe it was 2017. Some of y'all saying 2018. Either way, a 4 or 5 year gap between 2022. Okay. They were around. Kenya was around. Okay. Janelle and Kiwana was around. And I'm just going to have to say it like that. They were around. This is what I was told. Okay. So it wasn't until 2022 when they went, okay, they were told they were alienated, is what I was told to. They were alienated from Nazaya after they went and filed these reports when they said that they became aware of it, which was in 2022. Could it be a possibility that other people outside of the Harris household knew about what took place at that party? And maybe there was a report made at that time. We just don't have that. Rashina, she says, not to get off topic. It's not off topic. She said, but when she went over Shannon's testimony again, she been knew Jarvis was messing with baby girl. Her text proves, and she's about to get locked up too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when she said she saw the messages between her and Tuda. That's what she said. But yeah, that's what Kiwana Jarnell said. They were prevented from even, but that was after they found, that was in 2022. But prior to that, all of them were active in Nazaya's life. Okay. All of them were active. Kenya too. As much as she liked to say she wasn't, she was. All of them. Okay, she said they said that they thought Shannon and Annette were handling it. Then they later found out. Okay, so that could be the gap, maybe the 4 or 5 year gap. Think so? Could that be the reason that there was a 4 or 5 year gap because certain family members were told that Shannon and Annette was handling it? But then wouldn't that place everybody in a position of knowing at that point? Does it shift it from unknowing to knowing? Because to be under the impression that something is being handled or taken care of, then that also places you in the knowing. So to say, so if I were to say I didn't know, then how would that be possible that you didn't know? Or maybe you can just maybe if I put myself, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm just evaluating the facts that I was given, that I read, that I was told. You get what I'm saying? So certain things are just not adding up. I've went over this all day today. I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe it was this, maybe it was that. I even thought that too. Okay. They didn't know until a certain time. Okay, fine. Houseway. So exactly, the defense are going to eat her up, and the whole case is going to turn. Shannon's hands are dirty. And Jarvis is not going down alone. I don't think he's going to go down alone either. Say on that short that you posted with the freezer at the boy birthday party, if you look at the end part, you can see Jarvis coming out of what looks like a bedroom. I'm gonna have to look at it again. I've looked at it a lot, but I didn't notice that he was coming, looked like he was coming out of a bedroom. So I'm gonna have to look again. Okay. Thank you, Angie. She say like, share, comment. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to all the bush watchers. Hey, y'all. And shout out to everybody that want to say something that just don't. Shout out to everybody that catch this replay. Appreciate you all. All right. So here we go. Here we go. So the questions that I have asked myself was, 2005. I don't know. I'm gonna hold that question. She said Jarvis was there collecting money out of Annette's heavy purse with that 4-5. Girl, she said what I thought Jarnell said. She asked Shannon like a month or so later if she filed, and Shannon said no. So Jarnell filed. I need to go back and listen again. I think we all need to go back and listen again. But I know for an absolute fact that Jarnell in particular said that she filed a report in 2022. Okay. And that party took place several years prior to 2022. Eris said, girl, I pulled out my granny magnifying glass. Yeah, because I'm about to go back and look at that. She said, Jarvis is a punk A ninja. He won't go down alone. There is no loyalty there. Absolutely none. All right. Okay, I already got it pulled up. So let me just share the screen with y'all real quick. Hopefully it acts right. Let me get my headphones on.
Okay. Good afternoon. Could you please state your name for the record?
Tijuana Butts.
And how old are you, Ms. Butts?
46.
And do you know someone named Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
And how is it that you know him?
He's my brother.
Okay. And how old is Jarvis Butts?
42.
And do you know his birthday?
Yes.
When's his birthday?
November 21st, 1982.
And do you see Jarvis Butts in the courtroom today?
I saw him walking in.
Okay. And can you point to him and tell me the color of the clothing that he's wearing?
He has on, I believe it's dark green shirt. He's sitting behind the lady to the side of you.
Okay. And Your Honor, with the record reflected when it says identified the defendant in this case?
So reflected. And just to be clear, you said I saw him walking in. You saw him when you were walking in or when he was walking in?
When I was walking in just now.
Thank you.
And Ms. Butts, where did you know Jarvis to work?
Uh, he worked at a shop on Warren and F.
Hold on, y'all. I had to pause it because who is it? Nikesha Savage. She said I can't say too much because I have to protect my mom. It's so her. Nikesha, what are you talking about? Did I miss something? I'm trying to go up the comments and make sure I didn't miss anything. Who is your mom, Nikesha? Uh-oh. Let me go back. Okay, so y'all, what we're doing right now is we're paying attention to body language. Okay, we're paying close attention to Tijuana's body language and how she says things and how she says things, responds, okay, and her tone. That's what we're doing. Now, Keisha, if you're still in the chat, let me know what you're talking about, love.
Called Frank's, and then he moved to a shop on Hopper and Connors. I don't know the name of it.
And Ms. Butts, do you remember talking to Detroit police back on February 26th of 2024?
Yes,
And what's the reason that you went and talked to Detroit police?
I had reason to believe that I saw Naziah the day she went missing.
Tell me about
Now, listen to how she's saying Naziah. Because she knew who she was, man. Go back. Just a few seconds.
Reason to believe that I saw Naziah the day she went missing.
She knew.
Tell me about that. What
Look
made
at her
you believe that you
breathing.
saw Naziah on the day she went missing?
Where do you want me to start? It's a lot.
So from the very beginning, where is it that you think you saw Naziah?
At the shop on Harbor and Connors.
Okay, and whose shop is it?
My brother Jarvis Butts and his partner.
Okay.
Yes, I should have.
What's the reason you were at your brother's shop that day?
Something was wrong with the car that I was driving, and I just needed him to check it out to make sure it was safe for me to drive.
Do you recall about what time did you go to Jarvis's shop that day?
About 4 p.m., give or take a few minutes.
Okay, and around what time did you leave?
Somewhere between 6 and 6:30.
Okay. And what is it that you noticed while you were at the shop?
So it's a two car, like garage. So I was sitting outside of the shop in my car because they were working on another car on the inside. Um, as I sat there for the time that I was there, I kept seeing a little girl get in and out of his truck.
Okay. No, she said little girl. I know at one point we were saying a small frame body or skinny person. She said little girl in particular.
Going into the gas station and going back to his car.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you right there. Whose car are we talking about?
My brother.
Okay, and what kind of car was it?
The Cadillac Escalade.
Okay, do you remember what color?
Kind of like a pearl white, off white cream color.
Okay, and you said you described this as a two garage shop.
Yes.
Okay, and I want to approach with people's Exhibit 7.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Butts, do you recognize what is it we're looking at in People's Exhibit 7?
Yes.
Okay, what is that?
That is the shop
Okay.
right in the middle.
And where at were you parked when you saw someone getting in and out of Jarvis's truck?
In front of the car doors of the garage right here, I was parked facing, I don't know what direction it is, but going towards garage. I was like in front, but outside.
Okay, so you were kind of parked parallel with the road?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you draw a T where your truck was?
My car?
Yeah, your car was.
Yeah.
Yes. And then put an arrow the way you were facing. And where is it where that Jarvis's truck was? Just put a J where Jarvis's truck was. And what way was his truck facing?
It was facing my direction, so the front was
Towards you. Okay, so put an arrow for that direction. Okay. Now, do you get a look at this little girl that you see getting in and out of his car?
I saw her, as she was walking. I never saw her face.
Did you see any clothing?
I did.
Okay. Did anything about the clothing stick out to you that you remember?
I just remember her having on a colorful jacket.
Okay. And what door, which side do you remember seeing her getting in and out of Jarvis's truck? Or did it change?
I don't really remember.
Okay, that's okay. So you said you mostly remember a jacket, a colorful jacket.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm going to show you what's marked as People's Exhibit 2, which is already admitted, and People's Proposed Exhibit 10. You understand my approach?
Yes.
Handing you what's marked as People's Exhibits 2 and 10. Okay. Do you recognize anything in those photos?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
What is it that you recognize?
Right here, this jacket.
And for the record, you're pointing up in channel 1, and you recognize this like pink colorful jacket?
Yes.
Okay. And that's in People's Exhibit 10? Your Honor, I move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 10 as Exhibit 10. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the jacket that you saw that day?
Yes.
I move for the proposed People's Exhibit 10.
Any objection?
No objection.
Okay, it'll be admitted as People's Exhibit 10.
Okay. And in People's 2, is that also where is what you recognize People's Exhibit 2?
Okay, Coco.
If you or someone you know.
I'm gonna go check my email soon. Let me check out some of the comments real quick. Dari say she lied. She lied right there. Let me try to pull this up on my other screen because I need to be able to see our comments. Give me a second. So you want to know about the stuff she heard about her brother that wasn't able to talk about? Can you reach out to her? Yeah, I do know she's a witness. She's not going to be able to go into details, and I'm pretty sure she doesn't want her family business out there either. But I'll be willing to talk to anybody if it ain't Kenya or Roxy. So she was upset she even had to be up there speaking. She seemed embarrassed a lot. Maybe say she can't talk. She witness, right? We got to remember she has kids, a family too. She lied right there, saying she never saw her face. I don't think I believe that. Right? Lioness says she didn't give a fuck about Janiyah. She had her blood niece, so she feel no kind of way about Naziah. All this is to cover her own self, to tell the obvious, but not too much. If it's indeed true that she did try to get Shannon a way of escape by telling her to go ahead and let Jarvis go, raise your daughter, and go on with your life, perhaps she might have had an ounce of empathy for Shannon and Janiyah to get away from Jarvis, okay? Which still lets us know in the same breath that she knew the type of monstrous behaviors that her brother embodies and that she's witnessed, okay? I can't say too much to protect my mom, but what my dad Jarvis doing is sick and crazy. But my grandma Brenda and my mama Hattie, it's not a monster, but my dad need help. He had 4 brothers and 1 sister. Okay, so this could be somebody that is a relative of Jarvis. And she's saying I can't say too much to protect her mom. But what her dad, okay, so this is Jarvis' daughter that could possibly be in the chat, y'all. That's what's going on. Y'all picking up what I'm reading? Nikesha Savage, thank you for explaining that. If this is indeed one of Jarvis's daughters. And I'm sorry you had to experience you know, this monstrous behavior coming from your father. But you say your grandmother Brenda, okay, Brenda is Jarvis's mother. I do remember that name. And I do know the name Hattie is a grandmother. Okay, she say it's not monsters. Okay, if you have anything that you can share in regards to your father's background, would you mind sharing that? Or confirming if Jarvis was indeed S8 at the age of between 13 to 16. Do you have any idea about that? And how did he become the person that he is today that we know him to be? If you don't mind asking that, answering that. Was the person, if he was SA, was the person your grandmother Brenda's friend? Can you confirm that? Say she wasn't close to Jarvis. She couldn't name his kids. Who couldn't name his kids? Tijuana. She did. She numbered. She used her fingers to count about 8 of his children in this testimony or so. Say I don't think she knew too much about her because she wasn't close to him. He had so many children. She didn't know all of his kids. She said Jarvis, and she said that was King's niece. Um, you said you don't think she knew too much about Naziah? I beg to differ. I beg to differ, but we can always give her the benefit of the doubt. You say I just believe she knew Jarvis was more than what she claimed. Right. Okay. She feeling totally disgusted because he strikes again. They know he was a serial R. Yeah. You say, or it can be person acting like Jarvis' daughter. Right. That's why yeah. She says, yes, that's what I thought. Sorry for her pain. Saying Desire probably wasn't sitting in the car at all. And see, realist, that be my thing. It's like Nazaya knew who she was. Even if she didn't recognize Nazaya right off the rip. Say Nazaya did have a pregnancy face. She did look a little chubby at the waist. She was still not very tall. I hear she was kind of lanky a little. Okay. She was over 5'2", 5'3". She was over that. And she was very thin. Tijuana also stated that she hadn't seen Shanna's kids since about 2 months ago prior to this testimony that she made. I believe that even if she didn't recognize Nazaya, Nazaya probably recognized her. She didn't ask Nazaya who she was when she had the opportunity to ask her because she probably already knew at that point. That's just my theory. You say she close enough to him to go get her car looked at when he works, who he works with, where he lives. Right, some of his baby mamas and some of their kids, some of his kids. Say too many fake pages out here. I don't believe these people saying they family with Janaya. Yeah, at this point, I don't believe. I believe that was a fake page, impersonating Nazaya, not Nazaya, Janaya and their family, whatever. Dari says she begs to differ too. I beg to differ. So I'm just saying, but Jarvis told her that it was King's niece. Y'all keep saying that she said Jarvis said that, but how do we actually know that? We don't know. Do y'all remember if King said that on the stand? That Tijuana asked him who that little girl was, and he told her it was his niece. Did we ever hear King say that in his testimony? To confirm, because if that was a real conversation that they had, a truthful conversation, I feel like it should have came out in both testimonies. King never confirmed that. So we can't even say that was an actual factual conversation between her and King. Get me? So it's really not to say you're wrong, it's just how I question things. What would be the reason for him not to say it? Oh yeah, I kicked it with Tijuana. She was asking me who the young girl was, and I told her it was my niece. Why wouldn't he say that if it was? That's because he never told her that was his niece. Yeah, I'm seeing the cracks in her story. Yeah. Your thought says, where's Nazaya? Where is Nazaya? Mm-hmm. So I don't think they asked King that on the stand. They didn't ask him that in particular on the stand, but he did say there was a conversation between him and Tijuana, or that she came up to the shop asking him something to that extent. Okay, I'm gonna have to go watch it over myself, but I don't remember him saying that he told Tijuana that was his niece. Why would he withhold that information? That's kind of critical to me. Or you know what? She said she asked Jarvis, and Jarvis said that was King's niece. Still questionable to me. Knowing that your brother is a liar. Knowing that Nazaya was getting in and out of Jarvis's car, not King's car. So nah, the question wasn't asked. It wasn't. It wasn't asked. Yeah, he's a liar. He's a liar. Okay, so Tijuana said she asked Jarvis, was that who was the girl? And he said that was King's niece. So she came back after the fact, and King said that was Naziah. Okay.
Looks like channel 2 here maybe.
Okay, facing the back.
Yeah.
Okay. And you recognize the jacket in this photo too, right? Yes.
It's a little blurry, but it looks the same.
Okay. And what about in channel 1 of exhibit 2?
It would be this one right here.
Okay, and it's fair to say that's the back of a jacket? It seems to be the back of a jacket? Okay, thank you. And you said that you saw this little girl with this jacket on getting in and out and going into the gas station?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know who this little girl was at the time?
No.
Okay. Is there a time that you ever get out of your car?
Yes.
And what do?
I needed to use the restroom, so I asked his partner if I could use the restroom. He told me to go and tell him in the gas station. And as I was walking towards the gas station, she was walking in front of me going into the gas station.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to stop it right here because I've speculated on that comment alone that she just made. She said, as she was walking to the gas station part, Naziah was walking ahead of her. I wonder, was Naziah showing her where the bathroom was? Hold on. What Coco say? NYC said because she didn't know her brother was an SO, why was she so concerned about Naziah being with him? Right, right, because she knew. I believe she definitely knew. She said no. She asked King who she was behind his back. So what did King actually tell her? I think King may have told her at that point that it was Shannon's niece. Because remember, she said she called Shannon. At what point, I don't know. I mean, I've heard it, but I don't know the timeline right now off the bat. We just gonna have to watch it. But I always wonder, why was Naziah walking ahead of her to go to the bathroom? Did they tell Naziah to show her where the bathroom was? I wish they would have elaborated more on that exchange at that time.
Okay. So about how far in front of you was she?
I would say maybe where the gentleman in the gray blazer is behind you. Maybe a little bit farther. I'm not really sure about that distance.
From where you are to him?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, boy, I'm really bad at estimates.
So she say from where she is sitting at to where the guy is. We gotta. Hopefully they show a wider camera view. So I'm gonna try to remember to measure that distance.
25 feet.
Yeah, I would agree with about 25 feet. And you said you never got a chance to see this little girl's face.
No.
Was there anything else about her that you can remember?
I just remember her being kind of small, like outside of just seeing her get in and out of the car. When I was walking towards her, I was like, she's tiny, and I just remembered the coat.
Okay. Tiny, like in what way? Like tiny, skinny, short?
Kind of skinny and short.
And did you ever ask Jarvis who the little girl was?
Yes.
And what did he tell you?
He told me, and I can't remember if it was this exact word or he said it's my partner's niece, or he said it was King's niece.
Okay, but
But
you knew who he was referring to?
yes,
Okay. Did you think anything of it at the time?
no,
Okay. And what is it that made you think something? Was there a time where you thought something different?
yes.
Okay. And what is it that made you think something different?
I received phone call, well, a video call from one of his kids' mom, and she told me about some things that happened on Valentine's Day, and then she sent me a video of a podcast about my brother.
Okay. And what did you do as a result of receiving those things?
I called Shannon and I asked her for Sergeant Jones' phone number,
Okay. And who's the Shannon that you called?
his kid's mom.
Shannon Harris?
Yes.
Okay. Do you do anything before you go and talk to Sergeant Jones?
Yes.
Okay. What is it that you do?
Okay, so after having a conversation with Shannon Harris and his other kid's mom, I was informed that his partner King, I guess something happened where
Objection, this is hearsay.
There's not a statement yet, Judge.
Being informed.
I'm not sure what she's even about to say.
Okay, just to the extent that it's informed of someone else's statement.
You might have to object in a couple moments.
You need to speak up,
If you could stand up and
please.
make your objection.
Yes, just objecting to the fact that she was informed of something. It appears this might be hearsay, but we'll see.
Yeah. Could you finish what you were saying? I don't know where you were going with this.
I'm trying to remember where I left. Okay, so after talking to Shannon Harris and his other kid's mom, I was informed of some things that had taken place.
So she say on February 14th is when Shannon FaceTimed her and she was informed of some things that took place. And she was also made aware of Mark D podcast. Okay, allegedly, that's what I'm thinking as we put the dates together. Hold on, I'm a play it again because I see somebody said she also. So I think she went because she wanted to make sure it was her. Hold on, y'all. Okay. She also wanted to tell the judge what she heard. One of Jarvis' baby mamas and the defense lawyer stopped her. Okay, Ankh. She said, I found a person TikTok that went and videoed Jarvis' shop in the gas station. Okay. She say there is no way where she was parked at. She did not see Nazia's face. Yeah, it is very small. It is very small, and that's why I find it just hard to believe that she never seen Nazia's face. And also, let's keep in mind of the time that she was at the shop as well. She said she got there at 4 p.m. Even in the wintertime in Michigan, Detroit to be exact, that is daylight. Okay, it does get dark early around 5:30 ish. But at that point, you had seen her, and as many times as she claimed that she got in and out of that vehicle, there's no way that she couldn't have seen her face and them two ponytails braided up that she had. Like, those are distinctions like you can't miss. Like, even if she didn't see her face fully, when she was walking behind her, she couldn't have been that far ahead of her. Because, like you say, it's really not a big store. It's really not. It's very tight, actually. Say she also asked the judge, can she tell what she found out? Say Janelle took Shannon to Disneyland, so they were very much close at one point in time. They were very close up until she said she made the CPS report. Okay, Ree said what? Ree said she was trying to say Nazia was small, but we know she was showing. We know she was showing, and to my knowledge, Nazia wasn't short because she said she repeated after the prosecutor when she said short and skinny. Basically, to my knowledge, Nazia was not short. She was linky, like 5'7" ish. So that's not short. What was she informed of? Right. So somebody said she was informed of a raid. Did I read that correctly? Did I miss that? Yeah. NYC said their house got raided on Valentine's Day. Angel's house. She know this for sure. Okay. So allegedly that's what happened. Rashida say yes, I didn't understand why she said she was small. Windows foggy. You saying is that you think that's the reason why she didn't see Nazia's face? Um, or could be. I guess that's why they was asking her, was the windows down? Okay. Anyway, you say how's she known to Shannon and not known to Zaya? That's what pisses me off, Free. Because like you do. The Zaya was always with Shannon and her kids. Hey, K2 Hoop. Right. Makes no sense, man. Like, stop the cap, stop lying. She said later that Zaya went to the left and she went to the right. But we just heard her say that Naziah was walking ahead of her at a distance, but she was walking ahead of her. It's not a big store. Facts, very, very tight. Right. She said she wasn't allowed to say a bunch of stuff. She got witness. That's why she started crying. She wasn't allowed to say hearsay. But she absolutely was supposed to say exactly what happened. Jarvis and his sister were close and getting close again. He used to comment all over her daughter's page, and his daughter would replay playfully to his comments. Okay. Believable. Believable. She said she was parked by the shop door. Jarvis' truck was parked by the drive driver. I mean driveway. Is that what you're trying to say? I don't know. What's DU? Oh, dumpsters. Okay, parked by the dumpsters. She said that she was parked on the street. Okay. So Connor is a very it's no she was in a parking lot, but closer to the street. Okay, because it's like no curb right there. So she was parked in the parking lot. She didn't necessarily have to be parked right there to wait on him to look at her car. Maybe she just wanted to be because it's a whole nother area where she could have been parked at too. Okay. She knew that's why she's so emotional. That's why she's so hurting. Right. Okay. Now, I felt like I missed a comment.
I think Valentine's Day, so they told me that his
So
partner
objection.
King,
Okay, so
That
at this
is-
point, this is hearsay. They told me, and the lack of personal knowledge, the things that she was informed of.
can I finish?
1 second.
What?
What is an objection?
I'm
Everybody-
sorry.
The witness
Sorry.
has to stop talking.
So based on those, do you go and talk to someone else?
Yes,
Okay. Who do you go and talk to?
his partner King
Okay. And where is it that you go and talk to King
at the shop on Harbor Encounters.
at? Okay. And without telling me what King said, kind of describe what was your conversation about?
Well, I went to see what happened and what was going on. During that time, I told him that I had never seen any little girl at my brother's shop besides my nieces, outside of the little girl that I saw getting out of his truck that day.
Okay.
And you told this to who?
King,
Okay.
Okay. Now she said she told that to King. She said, "Thank you, mash hole, mass hole." Sorry. Said she loved a pink brick wall. She said she just told that statement that she said to King that she hadn't seen any other kids up there at that shop besides her nieces.
I had never seen any little girl at my brother's shop besides my nieces, outside of the little girl that I saw getting out of his truck that day.
Okay.
And you told this to who?
King,
Okay.
Who is King again?
his business partner.
Okay. And do you know his government name?
I believe it's Cordero or something like that. I just always call him King.
So
She know
you
his
went and
name.
told him that you hadn't seen anyone out at the shop besides your nieces and then the one little girl you saw that one day.
Yes,
Okay. Did you ask him about that?
And
little girl?
that is questionable too, y'all. We know that Janiyah indeed went up to the shop with Naziah all the time. In fact, she may even consider Naziah her niece. You mean to tell me you can FaceTime call Shannon whenever you get ready because you've been in Shannon's life for at least 14 years. You have access to Shannon and didn't know who that Naziah was also one of the little girls that goes to the shop on a regular with your niece Janiyah. Just no, don't make sense. You say no, they never asked him was she his niece. You say, but why is she questioning so much to King and appearing concerned if she had no idea her brother was a monster? Let's continue.
well, I didn't ask him about it. After I said that to him, he told me,
Objection, Your Honor, this is going to be hearsay again.
Judge, it's going to go to the effect of on the listener.
There could be an exception. I don't know what she's saying. So you might as well just stay standing up. Go ahead, say what you're going to say.
after I mentioned to him that I had only saw my nieces and one particular little girl, he then told me that that was Naziah that I saw that day and I was there.
So I would object then, given now that she has testified to that it is hearsay and that it is being introduced for the truth.
And Judge, I would say that it's actually a statement of identification.
And I wonder why she wear yellow. Why does she wear yellow of all colors? Say the older sister, she knows her brother. Of course.
So this is not an identification that she personally made, she's just being told.
When she saw Messiah that day, so it's.
She didn't know who it was. I mean, she had no idea who this was. That's
She
not
didn't know
her
who it was.
identification.
So it is hearsay.
Okay. So without saying what
And
he
y'all
said,
see how his defense attorney just kind of like twisted it, like, oh, that was hearsay. She didn't know who it was. And you see how her wording does make a difference. Like, although we all know, I feel like he's going to be charged with something when it comes to Naziah. But her statement just, it's like I guess you would call it some biasness in there. Like, I just feel like she's being biased and she's being indirect with the way that she says things to make it seem like, oh, I had no clue. Yes, I asked about the little girl, but I didn't know her from a can of paint. So I couldn't call her by name. We didn't talk. We didn't exchange words. We wasn't close enough to talk to each other. We was at a big distance. So you see what I'm saying? It's like the wording is is painting a different story versus what actually happened. That's what I feel like. Right. She's very calculated in her responses versus just letting it just flow. If you're being honest, just let it flow. I get thinking about what you're going to say before you say it so that your words won't get twisted. I get that. But it's no reason for you to be hostile. You can respond firmly, like, no, that's not what I said. I said this. Because a person that doesn't have a reason to lie and that's not lying, they can retell their story over and over and over again. There will never be loopholes.
were you informed of anything about a little girl that you saw on January 9th, 2024?
Yes,
Okay. And to your knowledge, Jarvis had told you that that was King's niece.
yes,
Okay. And when you talked to King, did you have reason to not believe what Jarvis told you?
Okay, so she's getting ready to ask her, did she have reason to believe not to believe what Jarvis told her? And see, this is why I say, like, even if the sister Tijuana would have came off and said, I absolutely did recognize Naziah, but I also was under the impression that all of my nieces, including Naziah, because I looked at her as a niece, they would go up to the shop and clean up quite often. This was a normal thing. That sounds more like an auntie who is being unbiased in her responses, or an adult that was around Naziah quite often and that was active in Jania's and her siblings' lives quite often. It just seems like, to me, that would have sounded more like, yes, I knew who that was. Yes, I seen her before. Even if she would have said, I wasn't even that close to her like I was to my other nieces and nephews, but I did recognize her. We did speak to each other. The conversation was short. Like, it's just unbelievable to believe that she didn't say nothing to Naziah. Nothing. That's really unbelievable to me. Good morning, Grand Rising, greetings. You say the prosecution is leading. They ain't doing a good job. Is that they really wasn't. They was not asking the questions correctly. See, I'm saying she's thinking about what to say because she knows that she could be exposed too. Right, right. You say Jarvis told her that Naziah was King niece? Did I hear that correct? Yes, Riri. Jarvis told Tijuana that Naziah was King's niece. Yes. Coco says exactly. She is starting to look worse each time I watch this. At first glance, she seemed to be legit. Now watching, she is very deliberate in responses. Yes, because I think when we initially watched her, we were still trying to understand the case and the depth of the case, right? A lot of us were just hearing about Naziah's case at this preliminary hearing. We had a information overload, okay? And we were emotional. We were listening with our emotions, a lot of us. So her crying, that kind of sent a lot of us over edge, like, oh my God, if she was the only one that cared or she didn't know. She really didn't know. Oh my God. Now that we're not listening with our emotions and we just listening to observe her responses, how she responds, her tone and her body language, it makes a difference. Right? Here for now said, here, why would she what? Let me know what you mean. I might have missed that. So I wonder why Naziah didn't say anything to her either. And that's what makes it hard for me to believe that Naziah didn't say anything to her. Naziah knew who she was. I'm sure she was, even if she don't call her auntie, I could see her probably saying, hey, hey, I know who that is. Even Jarvis probably said, hey, whatever they call Tijuana. Hey, T, there go T, she up here. Like, I'm pretty sure it was some type of exchange. Like, oh, there go my sister. That, like, you didn't ask who Naziah, you didn't talk to Naziah is bullshit. I'm sorry. I don't believe it. Yeah, I don't believe it at all. Was she told to lay low? Who, Naziah? Or the sister prosecution suck? Yeah, they definitely did. Okay. She said her emotions towards her brother. I knew you was up to no good again. When I seen that girl getting in and out of the car, you lied and said that was King niece. I knew you was back to your old tricks. All right.
Told you.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know your nieces from Jarvis?
Um,
That is a poorly worded question. I am sorry. If that was your niece, would you have recognized her that day?
yes.
Okay. And you did not recognize this little girl as your niece, did you?
No.
Okay.
I mean, look at her eyes when she said no. Look at the deep, breath she took. I'm about to rewind it a few seconds back. We had 1731. I'm finna go back to 1720 or something. I might have went back too far, but
From Jarvis? That is a poorly worded question. I am sorry. If that was your niece, would you have recognized her that day?
Yes.
Okay. And you did not recognize this little girl as your niece, did you?
No.
Okay. What is it that you did after speaking with King that day?
I called Shannon Harris and I asked her for Sergeant Jones' phone number.
Okay. And did you eventually talk to Sergeant Jones?
Yes.
Okay.
hey, Lady D.
Sorry about that. What day was it that you went to the shop and saw the little girl?
Can I ask you a question? I didn't remember the exact day at that time.
Okay. What is it that makes you believe that it was Neziah Harris that you saw on that day?
I'm not quite sure how to answer what you're asking me.
That may be a poorly worded question.
So she asked her, what was it that made her believe that it was Neziah Harris that she seen that day? Why did she act clueless like she didn't know that she said that she had on a colorful jacket? The colorful jacket was in the news. You know, her hairstyle, something distinct that led you to believe that besides what King had told you, since okay, she already debunked the fact that she didn't know her, she didn't recognize who she was, and that King told her who she was. Okay, so after that, when did you start putting the dots together? Like, okay, yeah, that coat did look familiar. Oh, that hairstyle did look familiar. Something looked familiar. It was broad daylight. It wasn't nighttime.
I'm sorry. Can I just have 1 second, Church?
Yes.
Are you ready to have
Ms. Butts, did you come to learn of the day that you had gone to Jarvis's shop by going through the locations on your phone?
yes,
Okay. And that's the date that you don't remember off the top of your head right now, but
Even if she didn't remember the day it was, Riri, I still feel like she could have said, I recognize the colorful coat that was all over the news. Okay, they had a picture of Neziah on the bus, and then they had that picture of Neziah walking. They not the picture, the video footage of her walking past the house on Bedford with the Ring camera. She gets even if you didn't know the dates or anything like that, she did say she recognized that colorful coat that she seen when she seen Neziah at the shop. She said that earlier on in the testimony.
it is revealed in your phone locations.
yes.
Let's see here. One second, let me find it.
RG, I want you to explain your comment that you just made. Because nothing that I do is pointless. If you feel like it's pointless, you can always leave. I don't force anybody to be here. I literally stream shit that I want to stream and that I find important or that I want to go back and listen to myself. So I'm gonna give you the floor. I want you to explain why you feel like this is missing a point. Who's missing the point? Every detail in this case absolutely matters. Every detail. Every single detail. Neziah Harris is still missing right now. And I know a lot more information is going to come out at the trial. We don't even know when the trial is going to happen. Only thing we can go off of is what we see, which is the actual facts and what we hear. That's it. And how bothersome this case is. alongside a lot of other cases where children wind up missing and unalive. But a lot of times they are found. I think what's so devastating about this case in particular is that she was never found. In any other case where a child was never found, that's like devastating. And it's like, how? So all of this matters to me. So we love you too, and we give you the floor. Tell us why you think that none of this is important, or we're missing the point. My bad. You said we're missing the point of her testimony. Let us know. You say nothing towards you. You say I'm just saying for her to know what day. Then who called her to testify? Yeah, because at that point you understand. At that point, you know what day it was. Whether you remembered it at the time when you spoke to the sergeant, or wrote a report, or whatever the case was. Now you know what day it was. I don't see what would have been a harm in her saying, yes, I now remember it was January 9th. Or, you know, I'm aware that it was January 9th. At the time, I didn't remember. She's just trying to be really careful in her responses, which I don't necessarily blame her, because like I said, you don't want nobody twisting your words, but at the same time, you still could control um what you say and how you say it. So yeah, I don't know. They ain't coming. Okay, she says she only testifying to connect Jarvis and Isaiah on January 9th. Um, her point was to only connect Jarvis and Isaiah on January the 9th. So nothing else for this whole 47 minute um testimony was important, basically. She was just serving as a witness to confirm that Jarvis was indeed with Naziah on January the 9th. Well, that's not the reason that I'm listening to her testimony right now again. We know, according to her testimony and King's testimony, that Naziah was with Jarvis that night of January 9th. We know that. And I know that that could be the only reason, but that's not the only reason that I'm listening to it. And I think that's what you're missing. I'm listening to it for more details and more context, because it's far beyond her just confirming if she's seeing Isaiah or not. For me, it's, were you aware that your brother was indeed a monster? What did you do? What didn't you do? And to see who's lying and who's not. What do I pick up from it? You know, that's just me though. And if you don't like that, and if you don't agree with that, and you feel like it may be a waste of your time, then you don't necessarily have to be here watching this with the people that actually do want to watch it again and do want to read, like they said, Unc said, the body language and her tone, and just pick it up on other details that we might have missed. That's the whole point. And to really think that Jarvis didn't have any enablers around him is bizarre. So she's one of the people that had direct contact with Jarvis. I think that we should listen to her testimony more than once, and not to just connect two dots, which is she was seen on January 9th with Jarvis, and that, she was there. Like, this is far beyond that. If none of this was important, why did they question her for 50 minutes? Anywho, you say, why explain? We appreciate it. We'll go back to watching replay. Yeah, it says deeper than just seeing Isaiah Jarvis on the 9th. He could have unalived her on the 10th. That means nothing. Say, but to me, even if that's the only reason, that's a very important part of the trial. She putting the victim with the suspect, with which contributes to a conviction, right? And I'm just like that. You say, "Oops, my comment is incomplete." I didn't even see your comment. Say all the red flags was there. Your brother was with a young female child, not his kids. Don't tell me you his older sister wasn't like him. What's going on here? Right. Especially if you didn't know who the little girl was. Hell, that's more reason for you to call the police on your brother. Shit. Or hey, who daughter is this? Let me find out who daughter is. Let me call Shannon. Let me call it. Let me see who she is. Who know this little girl? But again, she claims she was under the impression that it was King's daughter, King's niece. Right, Vicky B. I agree. So it's like we got to read between the lines here because everybody want to lie, tell half truths, withhold information.
When is it that you went through your phone locations to determine the date? I'm sorry, do you need a moment?
Um, I believe February, I think like 24th or the 26th. I can't remember the exact date.
Okay, that's when you would have went through your phone to find those?
Yes.
Okay, and did you also go through that in your interview with Sergeant Jones?
Yes.
Do anybody remember when they announced that Jarvis could have been? Okay, she said February 14th is when Shannon contacted her. They did a video chat, a FaceTime call, and that's when Shannon made her aware of the podcast. And evidently, that had to been around the time where they were speaking about Jarvis in particular. So, why was it that she didn't know until February the 24th and was able to connect the dots? Like, oh, yeah, I was there. When she would have been aware that Jarvis was the suspect in the case by February 24th, by that time, they doing searches. You get what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to go back and check and see when was Jarvis on the news originally, like at first. How long after Naziah went missing? I know they didn't give the case to DPD until early February. But when did they start posting pictures of Jarvis? That's interesting. I don't know.
Okay. And did you give Sergeant Jones permission to look at your location data?
Yes.
Okay. And your phone kind of extraction in general? Like to go through your phone for the data?
Yes.
Okay.
I was wondering why she questioned who Naziah was. I was thinking maybe she thought she was another one of his kids she had never met. Maybe, right? You say even if it was King niece, what's wrong with this little girl? She seems like something's bothering her. Why isn't she in her uncle's car but yours? Right. That was my question too. You see Naziah getting in and out of your brother's truck, continuously walking back and forth from your brother's truck to the inside of the store. She probably was barely going to King, asking King anything. I'm sure Jarvis was, if he was busy, it's okay. She said it was two cars that when she got there, they was working on two cars. Okay. Maybe he was busy and maybe Naziah wasn't having too much conversation with him. But at some point, she was able to ask, who is this little girl getting in and out of your car? So it was a possibility that she seen Jarvis talking to Naziah too. This like let's continue, y'all. Mm.
Okay, gotcha. So you go to the shop where your brother works periodically, right?
From time to time, yes.
You've been there prior to the day we've been talking about today,
Yes.
a couple times at least,
Yes.
and you'd been back there after.
Yes.
But the day we've been talking about, that's the only time you ever saw a child there.
That was the only time I saw a child I didn't recognize.
Okay, so you had seen other children there before?
Yes.
Okay, when you say that you recognize, these are who exactly?
My
Usually?
nieces.
And when you first arrived at the shop that day, Jarvis told you that he wasn't going to be able to work on your car?
No.
No? Did you ask him if he'd be able to?
Judge, I think this calls for hearsay. They can't admit statements of the defendant.
I'm looking more so from her own statement, actually.
From her
Let's
what?
start with her own statement.
Okay.
Did you ask him right away if he would be able to work on your car
I talked to him prior to coming to the shop.
before you arrived? You asked if he could work on your car that day?
I asked him to look at my car that day.
Okay. Did you arrive at the shop with the understanding that he would or would not be able to?
I arrived at the shop knowing that he was going to look at my car.
Okay. One moment. And was that via text or call or some other way?
Probably video call.
Okay, so a video call a little bit before you headed over.
Earlier in the day, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what time.
Okay, so that's how you decided that you'd go over later.
He told me I could come.
Judge, this is kind of all calling for hearsay in a backdoor way.
The response is hearsay. Not
Yes.
that you necessarily asked for it, but it's hearsay.
Sure, we can
You can be
keep it just her own. So to be clear, we don't need to talk about what he said to you, but you did a video call to him. And in that call, you asked if he could work on your car.
You
Right.
keep saying work on my car. I said look at my car.
Okay, look at your car, but you asked him personally in a video call.
Yes.
And that was maybe that morning.
I don't remember what time of day it was, but it was before I went to him.
Thank you. Okay. And as you were saying, this
Okay,
day, I
Angie.
think you said you saw some other children there at other times, but this particular child, you only ever saw this child on this particular day.
Yes.
And the whole time you were there, from your testimony and from that police interview, you said that you never saw her face.
Yes.
And then you did also see some news stories about this case.
Yes.
Yeah, in the podcast that you talked about. Right, there were some podcasts.
I had already saw her on the news, but I did not know who she was.
Sure, but that was
Now I got to stop it right there because we was just talking about this. So she said she had already seen Naziah on the news, but she still didn't put two and two together. I'm having a hard time believing that. Say, what difference do it make if he looked at or worked on it? She was getting real hostile for it was unnecessary. You say, I've been watching her testimony. I've been seeing her emotions is way too connected when she wasn't around her. Right. Because if y'all recall, King's sister who told her testimony, she was just, her energy was just, she was at ease. She was smooth, she it was non-hostile. It was non-defensive. Um Tijuana energy comes off defensive, and that baby mama with the blue car comes off defensive as well. He said if she never saw her face, how could she connect it to the news report? Mm. Okay, let me go back now. Just a few seconds.
There were some podcasts.
I had already saw her on the news, but I did not know who she was.
Sure. But that was by seeing those stories, that's how you started to think.
Well, I was sent the podcast after some other things that was told to me. That's when I received the podcast.
So initially, between the day you were at the shop, right, and then until you started to see that news, at first you didn't make this connection that maybe she was anyone in particular.
Not at all.
Okay. And then through seeing that news, those podcasts, that's when you started to think she was.
That's not the reason why I thought that.
No, but that's the timing, or it's not?
I guess you could say that.
That's when you started to, at least when you saw those things, that's when you started to wonder.
I was wondering before I saw the podcast.
So did you know who she was or not? She said she was wondering before she saw the podcast. She pretty much put two and two together because she seen Nazaya on the news. Well, okay. She didn't connect the dots after she heard and seen her on the news. But I guess it wasn't until Shannon contacted her and told her some things before she came aware of Mark D podcast. Then it's like, you gotta see the contradictions for me. It's
Okay. In your police interview that you did you tell them that at first when you saw the news, you didn't really make a connection because of not having seen her face?
Yes.
Okay. So that interview was on February 26th, 2024, right?
And do y'all really think that she had no idea that it was Nazaya that was missing? When it was all over the news, Shannon and them had it on their pages within a few days, right? She talked to Shannon often. Clearly, they FaceTime each other. You don't think Shannon sent her a message like, hey, Nazaya miss? They need their freaking phone records, all of them. Everybody that got up on this stand to give a testimony need their phone records turned in. Text messages, searches, calls, all of that. Because it makes no damn sense. You said, what's the defense in her? He said, how long has she been knowing Shannon? But Shannon knew he was a whole pedo. And her and Shannon never had a conversation about this before. I can't stand this. Okay. She been knowing Shannon since Shannon was at least about 18, 19 for sure when she had Janiyah. There's pictures to prove that on Shannon's page, Facebook page, where she's holding Janiyah when she's about 1. So they were familiar with each other at that time and up into Nazia's disappearance. They were familiar enough with each other to FaceTime call. I got to be familiar with your ass to really FaceTime call anybody. I don't FaceTime call anybody but my children, my child. So that's number one for me. You just FaceTime each other. Y'all cool. Okay. Now, you said that Shannon have a conversation with Tijuana before. According to some of Nazia's family members, they said that um, Tijuana said to her that she did have a conversation with Shannon when Shannon first had Janiyah, basically stating that run, pretty much. You just take your baby, go ahead. My brother ain't shit. That was the conversation that was had. So that lets us know at least one thing, that she knew the type of monster that her brother was. If that were the case, allegedly, right? If that's what she said to Shannon. But all in all, Shannon was aware of Jarvis's background because she said that Jarvis told her, which I believe that she knew about Jarvis's background prior to him even telling her, because Jarvis had dated Marquita prior to, and allegedly Lady as well, and Annette. Hell, allegedly.
Yes.
And you were having some trouble remembering some of the specific details from January 9th at that point?
Not so much as remembering maybe the order I remembered it in.
Okay. Were there some times, at least though, when you were asked some questions and some details that you had to say, I can't remember some things?
I can't remember now.
Okay. And would you agree that at least
Like,
many?
it's been a minute.
Okay. I
I
was just saying.
probably did. I guess it would be safe to say because I didn't know.
Okay, so you think it's safe to say that at that point in time, there are at least some details you were having a hard time, some questions you couldn't answer.
Is that what Shannon said, Rashina? She said that in her testimony that she called his sister. Because I literally had to go back and watch that too. I haven't watched that in quite some time. So um I have to go back and watch her testimony. But is that what she said? Unc said Kim Worthy did say we have some people who are closely related to Mr. Butts who will be charging later. Did she? Y'all gotta send me that link. Let me hit play and check my email real quick. Coco, I forgot.
I can't disagree.
And it was pretty close in time, shortly before that police interview. That was when you first started to think that maybe this girl you'd seen at the shop had been Naziah Harris.
Can you repeat that?
So the first time you started to think that maybe that child, the one you saw, maybe that was Naziah Harris, that was pretty close in time to the police interview.
If you hate
Maybe about a week or so before.
Okay. I believe, does it sound right to you that I think you told the police that it was on the Thursday prior to the interview?
Whatever the Thursday was after Valentine's Day.
Okay. So probably February 22nd. That was the Thursday prior to your interview.
Okay.
And then when
Thursday prior to the interview. Hey, Sunshine. She say salute, Lady Isis, mods, and chat. Okay, so I don't know if y'all seen the girl that was commenting in the comments. I forget the name. But she was basically saying that she was Jarvis's daughter in the chat. So my email is reading, her mom and Lady met Jarvis at the motel. So the person that was that was in the chat, that was supposed to be Tijuana's daughter or Jarvis's daughter. I thought she said Jarvis was her dad. That I'm talking to Coco now. If she's still in the chat, she said I'm not buying what she's selling. She knew this is a Coco. Her
When
attitude
you were
funky.
at the shop, you primarily saw this child while she was inside a truck, right?
I didn't know it was a child in the truck until she kept getting out.
Okay, but when you saw her, she was in a truck?
I saw her getting out the truck, yes.
And were you inside your vehicle?
Yes,
You arrived in the daylight, right?
yes,
And that's, I think, what you're referring to, right? Initially, that's when you didn't yet know somebody was in the truck.
can you say that again?
So at the beginning, when you first got there, right, you didn't know right away that somebody was in the truck.
No, I didn't.
I think you had said before, because it was so light outside, it was a bit difficult to see into the truck.
I wasn't really paying attention to his truck. He was outside of it.
Sure. And then in your police interview, you referred to then seeing a light in the truck, and that's when you started to see somebody?
Yeah, that's when the door opened.
Okay, so there's a light turned on, and at the same time a door opened?
That's the reason the light was on.
Okay, because the truck door was open. Yes?
Sure.
And you said that you saw a couple different times her go back and forth to the gas station,
Yes,
and only one of those different times you were on your way to the gas station as well.
yes.
But for that whole time, she remained in front of you?
When I was going into the gas station, she was in front of me. When I walked into the gas station, she went to the left, I went straight, and over to the right.
For that walk over to the gas station, was it getting dark at that point?
It was already dark.
Okay. And while she was in the truck, you were not sure exactly which part of the truck this was?
I can't remember, no.
Okay.
You know hard.
So you understood initially that when you arrived, you'd probably have to wait at the shop sometime?
Yes,
I think you referred to just one other car he worked on first. Is that all there was before you?
it was actually another vehicle out there, but I don't pay my brother to work on my car, so I had to wait until he was done making his money. So I
Sure.
waited.
Sure. So do you know how many cars he worked on before he got to you?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you know if there were any other customers present in person?
I did see someone, I can't remember what kind of car it was in, but it was, I believe, a gentleman, that needed to pull into the garage because Jarvis asked me to move my car out the way because I was blocking the garage, so yes.
Was this someone you recognized at all?
No,
So in total, other than Jarvis or who you referred to as King, was there anyone present that you recognized that day?
no, just King and my brother.
So as you said, the sun set while you were there. Do you know about how long it was light out before it got dark?
Well, I got there about 4 o'clock. It didn't take long for it to get dark. I don't remember the exact time, but it got dark pretty fast.
Okay, and then other than when you went to the gas station, were you always at the shop?
What do you mean?
So did you go anywhere else?
No,
Okay.
I never left. All I did was move my car when he asked me to move my car. And once the driveway was clear, I back where I was. I didn't go anywhere else.
Okay. And when you were present, not going to the gas station, were you always inside your vehicle?
Yes,
Were your doors open or closed?
closed.
Okay, and were your windows up or down?
They were up unless I asked him something.
Okay, so sometimes if you needed to communicate, you just open the window.
Or I would call him, yeah. Yes.
And you were saying today that at one point you did speak to Jarvis about who this girl was.
Yes.
And when you were talking to the police about this, you had said that you weren't sure exactly what his response was.
What I said was I wasn't sure of the wording.
Sure, that's what I mean. That
Okay.
you told the police, right, that it might have been King's niece, or maybe he said it's my homeboy's niece.
He said it was his partner or King's niece, but he definitely said it was someone else's niece.
Okay, I think does it sound right to you that you used the term homeboy's niece with the police?
I probably did.
Okay.
It's all the same to me.
And then that's what you continued to think at first, right? At first you just believed that it
Stasia, do y'all recall King saying that the truck ran out of gas? Was that before they went to FC or while Tijuana was there? Now that I can't remember.
was someone else's niece.
Yeah,
Specifically, you thought it was probably King's niece.
Hey, Brittany.
that's what I was told.
Which I think as we established, right, King is the same person as Cordell, right?
Yes.
And then after that, you would listen to some of these podcasts and to the news.
I listened to his kid's mother, and then I watched the podcast.
Okay, so those are some things that happened.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Let me rewind it a little bit.
And then once you started to,
And then I watched the podcast.
okay, so those are some things.
Yeah,
Specifically, you thought it was probably King's niece.
that's what I was told.
Which I think as we established, right, King is the same person as Cordell, right?
Yes.
And then after that, you would listen to some of these podcasts and to the news.
I listened to his kid's mother, and then I watched the podcast.
Okay, so those are some things that happened.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then once you started to have this different information you were gathering, then you kind of started to look into it for yourself,
Yes.
do some of your own investigation.
Yes.
And then at one point following that, that's when you decided to go back to the shop
Yes.
to speak to Cordell
Yes.
and to discuss some of these things you've been learning with him.
Yes.
You and Jarvis are not particularly close.
I wouldn't say that we're really distant. I don't see him every day. I don't talk to him every day, but he's my brother.
He's your brother, but you don't have a very close relationship, or?
He's my brother.
What about with his children? Are you close with his children?
Some of the ones that I know,
So he has 13 kids, right?
I have no idea.
Do you have an idea of around how many kids he has?
A lot.
Okay. Do some of them live with different mothers?
Yes.
And you don't spend time with all of them?
No.
So which ones do you know?
I don't want to say their names. They're minors.
Okay.
And I don't want to disclose their identity.
Could you just give like a number instead? How many do you know?
I'm counting. About 8.
So when you say 8 that you know, does that mean 8 that you have like personal contact with?
I have.
When is the last time that you've seen any of them?
I wish they would have asked her where did she see any of those kids.
Mm,
Okay, Miss Sexy.
No, 2 months ago.
Were you and Jarvis raised by your grandmother?
For the most part.
And were there some events surrounding her death that related to your relationship with Jarvis that impacted some things?
No.
The way she just answered that question is crazy. You didn't she didn't really say her and Jarvis was close or they wasn't close. She was biased with that. She said that's her brother. So then she asked her, okay, is there anything that could have impacted your relationship with Jarvis, growing up, being raised by your grandmother? And then she looked at her for a while with a smirk, and then her eyes squinted like they are now, and basically said, no, like, I don't know if she was trying to figure out where she was going with that question, but was y'all close or not? You say exactly at the gas station so small. That's one toilet bathroom. She had to wait. Listen, that gas station, you got the aisles, you in there like this. Your shoulders like everything tight in that motherfucker. Okay. So when Nazaya went to the left, I'm telling you, it's a short ass like table right there or some stand with some stuff, everything jam packed in that motherfucker. So if she went straight and then she said she went to the right, she had to go behind the counter to go use the bathroom. They don't have a public bathroom there. And why would they send her to the gas station to use the bathroom if the kids up there scrubbing and cleaning the fucking bathrooms in the shop? It don't make sense. Okay. But back to what I was saying. It seemed like it's something there that she don't want to dive deep into when it comes to her upbringing with her grandmother and some things that took place. She was definitely on guard with that response, almost like she was blown back that her grandmother was even brought up in any way during the questioning. That's what it seemed like to me.
I have no further questions.
She's
Thank
still
you.
shaking her head in disbelief.
Yes, Judge.
That motherfucker is tight
Ms.
to
Butts,
that.
you said that there was another reason. There was a different reason that you thought that it was Nazai that you had saw that day. When you were starting to compile, or when you talked to Shannon Harris, and then you got the podcast. Before that, you said there was other reasons why you had thought that was Nazaya.
So, am I?
Yes.
Can I speak for
What is
okay,
that? Yes.
So, at the time, I didn't know. Once I realized that it was a possibility that I saw her, there were several reasons that led me to believe that it was a possibility I was there. And I didn't want to get into detail as far as what I knew before the podcast. But if you would like, I would explain to you why
Yes,
I thought these things.
Yeah,
It's up to you.
please.
approach. Yes.
And then I wonder why they just stopped like that, Joy. Why they just stopped? What's going on? Why did they do that? Do anybody have an idea why they just stopped? Called a meeting in the back. Let's go. Why? We need to know why. Yes, please do. I wish they would have asked her. I do. Yeah, shit, we need to know. Say she needs a polygraph. They say those are inaccurate or not sufficient enough to stand in court. You say you think it ran out of gas after they return. Okay. All right, Robin. I think she embarrassed. That's why she. I would be embarrassed as fuck. They see this is crazy part because she's saying it was already dark. The king's son aunt said it was light out when they brought the car back. Well, and knowing that it was more than likely daylight savings or whatever, they pushed it out. You get that 1 hour less seemingly around that time when it's cold January. More than likely it was dark. About time they went out to Ipsy, it was dark.
You need some water or something?
All right, so y'all remember I said I was going to try to stop it where we can get a kind of full view of when she was trying to explain the distance between her and Isaiah. Remember, the lady prosecutor, there was a guy standing next to her with a suit on, and then I believe there was another guy here in this area behind Javirus sitting, a guy right here in a gray suit as well. So the distance between where she's sitting and where these two seats is possibly, that's quite a distance. And if y'all knew the size of this gas station, y'all can pretty much see if you go look on Google Maps or something. The building is jam packed. You got the car wash, you got in between that, and in between the car wash and the gas station, it was Jarvis and King shop. Everything is boom, boom, boom. That's quite a distance from what she's explaining and then to actually be at that gas station because it's so freaking close. The pumps is so close to the door. So I don't think that was an accurate distance that she was from the Zaya. It couldn't have been. It's so tight. And it's always cars there. Besides the fact that they had a shop and that he was working on cars, it's always cars at that gas station getting gas, running in that motherfucker. Okay, it's right there on the corner of Connor and Harper. Very busy gas station for the most part. So yeah, it's very tiny. So I don't think that was accurate. You say she's crying because she's scared she finna get caught up. You should have made it seem like you cared a little bit more than you did. You said crying and lying at the same damn time.
Can you get some water from your Can you give her some water? Oh, yeah. Please. Calm down. Calm down. It's gonna be all right.
He refused to look up. Sandra Doctor, hey girl. Miss Sandra.
It's gonna be okay.
Hey, she said Jarvis' sister's lies about going on the gas station. She went, what, right? No way, justice for Nazaya. Right. The hell is he writing? I'ma ask that every time I see that. He seems so fucking busy. He better hope that he can't write enough to get him up out this situation. It's a done deal. Right, Lioness. Mm. Somebody write them lies.
You need to do some more?
No, that's it.
Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, that was where he's at. That was one of the other defense attorney for Jarvis. Okay, that's where he was at. Yeah, that's too far of a distance. That's too far of a goddamn distance, y'all. I just don't believe it. She was close enough to see Nazia's face. She was.
Okay, we are back on the record. Ms. Butts, you are still under oath. Ms. Ripley, go right ahead.
Thank you. So, Ms. What's what's the sources of these reasons that you have? Are these things that you know from your personal knowledge? Are these things that you observe yourself?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Repeat that.
So these reasons that you were thinking of, what are the sources of them? Is it somebody told you something? Is it something that you saw yourself, you observed, or a coupling of that?
I would say a bit of both. Things that I was told and things that I heard.
Okay. Were there heard from Jarvis?
No,
Okay. Were these things that you had already known prior
prior to.
to thinking that was Messiah that you saw?
I'm sorry, I'm confused on the question.
So are these things the sources that you have for these reasons? Are they like things that you have personal knowledge of, or are they things that somebody told you about?
I forgot to point out to y'all the part where she had mouthed something out. I wanted to ask y'all which I thought she had said. It might be coming up.
These were things that I was told. I'm trying to understand the question that you're asking me.
Ms. Ripley, you're referring to the question before we went into sidebar about her leading up to believing that it was possibly Naziah Harris at the shop, correct?
Yes.
Does that help clarify
Okay,
the line of questioning?
yes.
Okay. So those reasons, those things, are those things that you had known before? Are they based on your observations, or?
Well, these were things that I was told. And after asking the questions that I needed to ask, I came up with the conclusion that it was a possibility that Naziah was the little girl that I saw that day.
Thank you.
Hmm.
You said that when you were parked at Jarvis's shop, that it was getting dark out.
Yes,
Okay. That darkness, is that maybe the reason why the color on the jacket stood out?
well, the jacket didn't stand out until I was walking into the gas station behind her because I wasn't really like paying attention to what she had on. I just kept seeing her get in and out of the truck, going in the gas station and coming back to the truck. And that's what caught my attention.
Okay, so the movement is what attracted you to it at first.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, unique.
Nothing for the judge. Nothing for the-
Okay, Ms. Bussy, we're done testifying. Watch your step.
Damn, I missed it. I don't even remember the timestamp either. I should have wrote it down. Do anybody know the timestamp when she was mouthing something? Somebody said it seems like she was saying, "I'm sorry." Yeah, that's the word I was really looking for. Very vague. The questions was vague and her answers was vague. That's the exact word I was looking for. Thank you. Damn. Said 122:43. Read previous message. If he meant king, he would have said his bro, his coworker, boy, or friend, not partner though. When I hear that, I think who the person dating. Oh, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Dang. I'm gonna have to go back through it when I get off here. Cause I watched it and I'm like, what the hell did she just say? But when did she say it? It's the question. Capricorn say she said I love you. Now that's crazy. He said, she definitely said something to Jarvis because she was looking in that direction. She said they were business partners. She said, but King already established that Jarvis is his business partner. Stasia says she needs to stop the bullshit. You been so being so you was being nosy the whole time. You saw that cartoon jacket. Right. That's another thing. It's like women is nosy. You see somebody getting in and out your car, you know your brother is a Rolling Stone and you know he got a record of dealing with minors. The last thing you gonna do is not look and not ask questions. And even if she didn't ask some questions, I'm sure she was all up in that truck seeing who was what's going on, asking herself questions, asking him questions, whatever. Like motherfuckers be nosy. People watch people all the time. So I love you, but they not close. They definitely is close. And I sure wish I could find that part, y'all. I sure do. Cause it was real quick. And if you turned away, you wouldn't even notice that she did that. Or if you just looking at her eyes, you wouldn't even notice that she had mouthed something to Jarvis. You wouldn't have caught it. So could it be that she having mixed feelings? She had mixed feelings about it. Do that mean all the love that she had for her brother should have went out the window? She still love her brother? She still trying to protect them, or she really want justice for Nasiah? Or right, y'all both walked in the gas station. You ain't break your neck to see her because she made it seem like she was far ahead of her. She wasn't close enough to see nothing. I ain't see the thing. Don't ask me nothing. Excuse me. I ain't seen nothing. Right? Yeah, right. I would have been walking quick. Like, who is this? Hey, how you doing? Something. Say exactly. As a sister, I'm all in my siblings' business. That's just what it is. And I don't think she said it when she was talking to his defense attorneys. I think she said it when a prosecutor was talking to her. And honestly, when I seen that, I'm like, no, ain't no way. She want to cover for him. Mm-mm. They know she just got caught up being there. That's it. That's it. Because otherwise, I don't believe she would have came forward. If they couldn't have tracked her down at being at the shop that day, I don't think she ever would have said anything. But she know her phone would have pinged her right there. If that was the route that they wanted to take. You say if she really wanted justice for Nasiah, she'll tell it all gas, no brakes. Right. And no mouthing. What y'all say she said, I love you or I'm sorry, not mouthing that. You just gonna stand on it. I'm saying what I said, I'm doing what I'm doing. You dead ass wrong. I don't support you. That's that. You're not gonna be mouthing I love you. That's crazy. So not only that, your brother is a PD, a little girl in and out of his truck. That's why you asking King questions, but didn't you care? But you didn't care to see her in the gas station. Right. Say, you know what I was thinking, y'all? Isn't it creepy that everyone car didn't work that day or needed fixing? I really believe a lot of people was put on to the accident that caused Nasiah to be unalive. Hmm. That is ironic because they had the car going down. They had the Jaguar situation going on. Uh, the sister car needed looking at. They left something at the auto parts store, had to double back. It was a lot going on that day. And everyone was making an alibi. Yes. Yeah. So All right. So you closed out by accident, Robin. I'm just trying to find that part. I can't even find it, man. Damn. Oh, somebody said 2, 3, 4. Not it being 2, 3, 4.
Or with her own statement.
Okay.
Did you ask him right away if he would be able to work on your car
I talked to him prior to coming to the shop.
before you arrived? You asked if he could work on your car
Two.
that day?
2340.
I asked him to look at my car that day.
Okay. Did you arrive at the shop with the understanding that he would or would not be able to?
I arrived at the shop knowing that he was going to look at my car.
Okay. One moment. And was that via text or call or some other way?
Probably a video call.
Okay, so a video call, a little bit.
Okay, she says 2336.
I'm looking more so from her own statement, actually.
From her what?
Let's start with her own statement.
Okay.
Did you ask him right away if he would be able to work on your car
I talked to him prior to coming to the shop.
before you arrived? You asked if he could work on your car that day?
I asked him to look at my car that day.
Okay. Did you arrive at the shop with the understanding that he would or would not be able to?
I arrived at the shop knowing that he was going to look at my car.
Okay. One moment.
Damn. I don't think that was it either, Capricorn. I was hoping it was.
When is it that you went through your phone locations to determine the date? I'm sorry, do you need a moment?
Um,
I'm going to let this part play.
I believe February, I think like 24th or the 26th. I can't remember the exact date.
Okay, that's when you would have went through your phone to find those?
Yes.
Okay, and did you also go through that in your interview with Sergeant Jones?
Yes.
Okay. And did you give Sergeant Jones permission to look at your location data?
Yes.
Okay. And your phone kind of extraction in general? Like to go through your phone for the data?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing else, Judge.
Actually.
Uh,
So you go to the shop where your brother works periodically, right?
From time to time, yes.
You've been there prior to the day we've been talking about today?
Yes.
A couple times at least?
Yes.
And you'd been back there after?
Yes.
But the day we've been talking about, that's the only time you ever saw a child there?
That was the only time I saw a child I didn't recognize.
I
Okay,
missed
so you-
it.
So you go to the shop where your brother works periodically, right?
Y'all, how am I missing
Give Sergeant Jones
this?
permission to look at your location data?
Yes.
Okay. And your phone kind of extraction in general?
Okay, I just rewinded it again.
For the data?
Yes.
I'm looking at her mouth only.
Nothing else, Judge.
Okay, that's-
Actually. So you go to the shop where your brother works periodically, right?
From time to time, yes.
You've been there prior to the day we've been talking about today,
Yes.
a couple times at least,
Yes.
and you've been back there after.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Capricorn.
But the day we've been talking about, that's the only time you ever saw a child there.
That was the only time I saw a child I didn't recognize.
Okay.
I
so you
missed
had
it
seen
again,
other children
yes.
there before.
I'm looking directly at her mouth though.
When you
I'm
say
not
that you
missing it.
recognize, these are who exactly?
My
Usually?
nieces,
And when you first arrived at the shop that day, Jarvis told you that he wasn't going to be able to work on your car?
no.
No? Did you ask him if he'd be able to?
Judge, I think this calls for hearsay. They can't admit statements of the defendant.
I'm looking more so from her own statement, actually.
From her
We'll
what?
start with her own statement.
Okay.
Did you ask him right away if he would be able to work on your car
I talked to him prior to coming to the shop.
before you arrived? You asked if he could work on your car that day?
I asked him to look at my car today.
Okay. Did you arrive at the shop with the understanding that he would or would not be able to?
I arrived at the shop knowing that he was going to look at my car.
Okay. One moment.
So I'm at the wrong part right now. This too far out?
And was that via text or call or some other way?
Oh, right after she
Video
say no
call.
further questions. Okay.
So a video call a little bit before you headed over?
Earlier in the day, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what time.
Okay, so that's how you decided that you'd go over later.
He told me I could come.
Judge, this is kind of all calling for hearsay.
Y'all saying go back. Okay.
The response is hearsay. Not
Yes.
that you necessarily asked for it, but it's hearsay.
Sure, we can keep it as her own.
Y'all, give me a direct time. She says 23:35. That's where I'm at. Matter of fact, it's past where we at right now. I mean, it's back. Oh, wait a minute. 23:35.
A couple times at least,
Yes.
and you'd been back there after.
Yes.
Am I at the right part now? Because this is where I'm at now. It's at 22:38. Because I know I seen it. I ain't crazy. Okay, let it play from here.
But the
Just put a yes if I'm at the right part right now. Right, y'all saying this when the prosecutor said no more questions. I thought it was after she was. I can slow it down once I get the timestamp right. So I need to go back more. Right now I'm at 22:40.
the day we've been talking about, that's the only time you ever saw a child there.
That was the only time I saw a child I didn't recognize.
Okay, so you had seen other children there before?
Yes.
Okay. When you say that you recognize, these are who exactly?
My
Usually?
nieces,
And when you first arrived at the shop that day, Jarvis told you that he wasn't going to be able to work on your car?
No,
No? Did you ask him if he'd be able to?
Judge, I think this calls for hearsay. They can't admit statements of the defendant.
I'm looking more so for her own statement, actually.
For her
We'll
what?
start with her own statement.
Okay.
Did you ask him right away if he would be able to work on your car
I talked to him prior to coming to the shop.
before you arrived? You asked if he could work on your car that day?
I asked him to look at my car today.
Okay. Did you arrive at the shop with the understanding that he would or would not be able to?
I arrived at the shop knowing that he was going to look at my car.
One moment. And was that via text or call or some other way?
Probably the video call.
Okay, so a video call a little bit before you headed over?
Earlier in the day, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what time.
Okay, so that's how you decided that you'd go over later.
He told me I could come.
Judge, this is kind of all calling for hearsay in a backdoor way.
The response is hearsay. Not
Yes.
that you necessarily asked for it, but it's hearsay.
Sure, we can
Can be
keep it just her own. So to be clear, we don't need to talk about what he said to you, but you did a video call to him. And in that call, you asked if he could work on your car.
You
Right.
keep saying work on my car. I said look at my car.
Okay, look at your car, but you asked him personally in a video call.
Yes.
Okay, and that was maybe that morning.
I don't remember what time of day it was, but it was before I went to him.
Thank you. Okay, and as you were saying, this day, I think you said you saw some other children there at other times, but this particular child, you only ever saw this child on this particular day.
Yes.
And the whole time you were there, from your testimony and from that police interview, you said that you never saw her face.
Yes.
And then you did also see some news stories about this case.
Yes.
Yeah, in the podcast that you talked about. Right, there were some podcasts.
I had already saw her on the news, but I did not know who she was.
Sure, but that was by seeing those stories, that's how you started to think.
Well, I was sent the podcast after some other things that was told to me. That's when I received the podcast.
So initially, between the day you were at the shop, right, and then until you started to see that news, at first you didn't make this connection that maybe she was anyone in particular.
Not at all.
And then through seeing that news, those podcasts, that's when you started to think she
No.
was.
That's not the reason why I thought that.
No, but that's the timing, or it's not?
I guess you could say that.
That's when you started to, at least when you saw those things, that's when you started to wonder.
I was wondering before I saw the podcast.
Okay, in your police interview that you did,
Mhm.
did you tell them that at first when you saw the news, you didn't really make a connection because of not having seen her face?
Yes.
So that interview was on February 26, 2024, right?
Yes.
And you were having some trouble remembering some of the specific details from January 9th at that point?
Not so much as remembering maybe the order I remembered it in.
Okay, were there some times, at least though, when you were asked some questions and some details that you had to say, I can't remember some things?
I can't remember now.
Okay. And would you agree that at least
Like,
when it,
it's been I
okay,
didn't.
I
I
was just saying,
probably did. I guess it would be safe to say because I didn't know.
okay, so you think it's safe to say that at that point in time, there were at least some details you were having a hard time, some questions you couldn't answer?
I can't disagree.
And it was pretty close in time, shortly before that police interview. That was when you first started to think that maybe this girl you'd seen at the shop had been Messiah Harris.
Can you repeat that?
So the first time you started to think that maybe that child, the one you saw, maybe that was Messiah Harris, that was pretty close in time to the police interview.
Maybe about a week or so before.
Okay. I believe, does it sound right to you that I think you told the police that it was on the Thursday prior to the interview?
Whatever the Thursday was after Valentine's Day.
Okay. So probably February 22nd. That was the Thursday prior to your interview.
Okay.
February 22nd. That's 222. Just noticed that.
And then when you were at the shop, you primarily saw this child while she was inside a truck, right?
I didn't know it was a child in the truck until she kept getting out.
Okay, but when you saw her, she was in a truck?
I saw her getting out the truck, yes.
And were you inside your vehicle?
Yes.
You arrived in the daylight, right?
Yes.
And that's, I think, what you're referring to, right? Initially, that's when you didn't yet know somebody was in the truck.
Can you say that again?
So at the beginning, when you first got there, right, you didn't know right away that somebody was in the truck.
No, I didn't.
I think you had said before, because it was so light outside, it was a bit difficult to see into the truck.
I wasn't really paying attention to his truck. He was outside of it.
Sure. And then in your police interview, you referred to then seeing a light in the truck, and that's when you started to see somebody?
Yeah, just when the door opened.
Okay, so there's a light turned on, and at the same time a door opened?
That's the reason the light was on.
Okay, because the truck door was open. Yes?
Sure.
And you said that you saw a couple different times her go back and forth to the gas station,
Yes.
and only one of those different times you were on your way to the gas station as well.
Yes.
But for that whole time, she remained in front of you?
When I was
Yeah, is it still coming up? We at 30 now. We at 30, 45. Is it still coming up? I wasn't trying to watch the whole thing over again. I was just trying to catch that one part where she mouthed something to Jarvis. That was it. So is it still coming up? I'm gonna wait on somebody to say yes in the comment. Oh God. I can't believe this. This is crazy. Cause it don't seem like it's that way.
I'm not quite sure how to answer what you're asking me. Like,
That may be a poorly worded question. I'm sorry.
Right, she did. She did switch up. Look, we like, I don't even know.
Yes.
At this point, I don't even know.
Ms. Butts, did you come to learn of the day that you had gone to Jarvis's shop by going through the locations on your phone?
yes.
Okay. And that's the date that you don't remember off the top of your head right now, but it is revealed in your phone locations?
Yes.
Oh, you said it was after. Yeah, because I'm about to just give up. I'm gonna find it, but I don't want to keep repeating it for y'all. Y'all like, what the hell? Hey girl, so glad that I found you. Why? My. I'm at 1937 now. I'm gonna let it play a little bit.
Let's see. One second.
Mhm, 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 mhm.
When is it that you went through your phone locations to determine the date? I'm sorry, do you need a moment?
Um, I'm
Y'all talking about? Yeah, I did. Somebody else said that. I thought it was towards the end too, like the 45 minute, the 40-minute mark.
repeat that.
So these reasons that you were thinking of, are these, what are the sources of them? Is it somebody told you something? Is it something that you saw yourself, you observed, or a coupling of that?
I would say a bit of both. Things that I was told and things that I heard.
Okay. Were there heard from Jarvis?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
Were
y'all
these
said
things
no.
that you had already known prior?
Y'all said no. That was it. Okay, okay, okay. I know where I was at. I know where I was at. It was right here.
I'm sorry, do you need a moment?
Um, I believe February.
I'm back. I went back.
I can't remember the exact date.
Okay. That's when you would have went through your phone to find those?
Yes.
Okay. And did you also go through that in your interview with Sergeant Jones?
Yes.
Okay. And did you give Sergeant Jones permission to look at your location data?
Yes.
Okay. And your phone kind of extraction in general? Like to go through your phone for the data?
Yes.
Okay.
Look, the time at 22 exactly. I remember where I went back to. She was about to get ready to do what she doing now.
Nothing else, Judge.
Thanks, Beth. Back to you.
So y'all ain't talking about right there. She said good afternoon. When she said nothing else, Judge, and then she said good afternoon. That ain't it. Nah, that is not the part I'm talking about. I'm talking she didn't say no words. That's not what I'm talking about. She literally mouthed it. She didn't say nothing out of her mouth. Right. She said good afternoon.
So you go to the shop where your brother works periodically, right?
From time to time, yes.
You've been there prior to the day we've been talking about today,
Yes,
a couple times at least,
yes,
and you've been back there after.
yes.
But the day we've been talking about, that's the only time you ever saw a child there?
That was the only time I saw a child I didn't recognize.
Okay, so you had seen other children there before?
Yes.
Okay, when you say that you recognize.
Yeah, I think we was talking about two different areas because I thought it was towards the end. Somebody else had put that in the comments too, like because she was too hostile with the defense side to say it. But I know she was looking over in that area when she mouthed it. I'm like, wait a minute. I know I ain't crazy. I ain't miss it. But okay, we was talking about two different parts. So let me see. She said if you're watching the Detroit news stream, it's 2209. I'm watching something else. This is justice. Justice. Justice is a process.
Ms. Ripley,
Let me
would
see
like
if
to
it's right
answer?
here.
Thank you. So, Ms. Brooks, what's the sources of these reasons that you have? Are these things that you know from your personal knowledge? Are these things that you observe yourself?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Repeat that.
So these reasons that you were thinking of, what are the sources of them? Is it somebody told you something? Is it something that you saw yourself, you observed, or a coupling of that?
I would say a bit of both. Things that I was told and things that I heard.
Okay.
She really did, Riri. She really did. I seen it the other day. I'm like, damn, I should have wrote the timestamp down.
Were there heard from Jarvis?
No,
Okay. Were these things that you had already known prior
prior to
to thinking that was Messiah that you saw?
I'm sorry, I'm confused on the question.
So are these things the sources that you have for these reasons? Are they like things that you have personal knowledge of, or are they things that somebody told you about?
I'm at the end now. So I'm gonna see if it's right here. If not, then I'm gonna have to find it on my own time.
These were things that I was told. I'm trying to understand the question that you're asking me.
Ms. Ripley, you're referring to the question before we went into sidebar about her leading up to believing that it was possibly Messiah Harris at the shop, correct?
Yes.
Does that help clarify
Okay,
the line of questioning?
yes.
Okay. So those reasons, those things, are those things that you had known before? Are they based on your observations, or?
Well, these were things that I was told. And after asking the questions that I needed to ask, I came up with the conclusion that it was a possibility that Naziah was the little girl that I saw that day.
Thank you. You said that when you were parked at Jarvis's shop, that it was getting dark out.
Yes,
Okay. That darkness, is that maybe the reason why the color on the jacket stood out?
well, the jacket didn't stand out until I was walking into the gas station behind her because I wasn't really like paying attention to what she had on. I just kept seeing her get in and out of the truck, going in the gas station and coming back to the truck. And that's what caught my attention.
Okay, so the movement is what attracted you to it at first.
Yes.
Okay. Nothing for the judge. Nothing for the
Okay, Ms. Bussy, we're done testifying.
You said it's right after the part
Well,
where the
Right, when
tears
you
start
talked to Shannon
flowing.
Harris, and then you got the podcast. Before that, you said there was other reasons why you had thought that was Naziah.
So
You say it's right after the part where the tears start flowing. So it's not around the time when they went to the back. Okay.
am I?
Yes.
Can I can speak for?
What is that?
Okay.
Yes.
So at the time, I didn't know. Once I realized that it was a possibility that I saw her, there were several reasons that led me to believe that it was a possibility I was there. And I didn't want to get into detail as far as what I knew before the podcast. But if you would like, I would explain to you why I thought these things.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Can we approach? Yes. We'll be right back. Go to the hallway.
I'm gonna be discussing it, right? I'm gonna discuss it, right? Tomorrow. We'll come back.
Tomorrow she bumped her head on the table.
Ms. Butts, did you come to learn of the day that you had gone to Jarvis's shop by going through the locations on your phone?
Yes.
Okay. And that's the day that you don't remember off the top of your head right now, but it is revealed in your phone locations?
Yes.
Let's see here.
Y'all keep saying that's the part. I'm not talking about when words actually came out of her mouth. She literally just mouthed it. And to me, it looked like she said either I'm sorry or I love you. That's what it looked like to me. But I'm gonna have to find it because now this is gonna bother me because now it looks like I was making shit up. Like, did this happen? I seen it. No, it's looking like I done made some shit up.
One second. Let me find it.
And she was looking in Jarvis's direction. Yes, it's the question. It is. It's like Riri. I'm like, this is crazy. I didn't went back and forth, and and I like I say, I remember when she was being questioned, and she was already looking in his direction, so it wouldn't be obvious. It wasn't obvious. Like if you wasn't looking at the screen or looking at her mouth, you wouldn't have caught it. And I just so happened to have, I was playing it on my TV screen, and I seen it. But now it's like, damn, what happened? He said the part I was talking, but kind of came out, the rest didn't. But you say she said good afternoon. Right. She said good afternoon. She definitely did. So yeah. Anywho, y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. So everybody that's gonna catch this replay, I'ma probably find that part and I'm gonna have to I'm gonna post a short. I'm gonna be like, y'all that was on stream with me, this the part I was talking about. Okay, y'all got to comment on that short and let me know that y'all seen it, because I'm definitely going to be posting it to the shorts. You say the part you was talking, he said, I thought it was when they went to the bed. I feel like I thought it was towards the end myself, but I don't think it was when she was being questioned by the defense, because she was too on guard, so it had to been like towards the end or closer to the beginning. I'm just skipping over it. I was at the end when she told him that she loved him. Yeah, I played it the end twice. I still didn't see it. He said watch the Detroit stream. You got the actual link? I could just look it up real quick. Or you got like, when you say Detroit stream, what you mean? Like the excuse me, I'm yawning. Like the courtroom. I don't know, my ass be sleepy. I be staying up late knowing I gotta get up in 3 hours. My, oh my. Why do I feel like it's right here? Let me just play this one more
Record, Ms.
time.
Butts, you are still under oath. Ms. Ripley, go right ahead.
Thank you. So, Ms. Books, what's the sources of these reasons that you have? Are these things that you know from your personal knowledge? Are these things that you observe yourself?
Say, I don't think she would have tried that while the judge and attorneys were there. I thought it was well. No, she did. She was quick and slick with it, y'all. I'm telling you. If we can't catch it right now, and most of y'all don't even know what I'm talking about, that's how quick it was. It was like you wouldn't even have expected her mouth to say what it said, but you can read her lips and pretty much make out what she said. And she was looking in Jarvis' direction. She was quick and slick with it. And I told y'all the only reason why I was able to catch it because I had it playing on my TV screen. I'm like, damn, her mouth did move. Let me go back. Let me rewind. I rewinded it like 3-4 times. I'm like, damn, that just kind of changed how I view her entire interview. That little part right there. That's why I said I gotta talk to y'all about this interview again. I should have wrote the timestamp down though. Or this not interview, this testimony.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So when I get the timestamp, best believe y'all will be the first to know. And I don't know why she did that. 'Cause it ain't like she can't call him. You said you seen it because you was surprised, right? Right. It was shocking. And it was like, oh wow. Like, of course we know she still love her brother, but for you to slide that in real quick while you giving a testimony against him was crazy to me. But I'ma get it, y'all. I'ma go to bed. I need to go to bed. I'm gonna try to go live again later. But for now, see you later. And if you find a timestamp, just send it to me or the link to the other you said Fox 2 Detroit news titled Sister Testifies. And what was the timestamp? 2009. Let me see. You're welcome. Thank you. I'm finna try it on this one. She says at the 2009 mark. So we finna look at it real quick. Hey girl, so glad that I found you. They leaving without you. Mhm. Mhm.
And how old are you, Miss Butts?
46.
All right. Let's see, Batman. I feel like this is the same part that we already played over and over, and it wasn't a part.
Nothing else, Judge.
Thanks, Chris.
Actually,
Yep, that's the
so
part.
you go to the shop where your brother works periodically, right?
Yeah, that's not the part. That's not the part. It's the same part we played. And I said she didn't say words. It was just mouthing what she had to say. Very quick, okay? Very discreet, very demure. It was very, very, very quick, I'm telling you. And it did look like she said, I love you. It did. Eris, that's not it. I promise y'all. Y'all gonna be shocked. For the ones that saying that's the part, y'all gonna be shocked when I post it to my. Oh, okay. She said, I love you. Yeah, she didn't say that. She said, good afternoon. Right there at 2209, she said, good afternoon. That's not it. See, look, I'm gonna play it again real quick.
Actually,
See, she said, good afternoon. She said, the defense attorney said, good afternoon. She said, good afternoon.
so you go.
So I know that was not it. But she's saying let the end play out. I'm gonna let the end play out and then I'm gonna be out.
I'm, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Repeat that.
So these reasons that you were thinking of, are these, what are the sources of them? Is it somebody told you something? Is it something that you saw yourself, you observed, or a coupling of that?
I would say a bit of both. Things that I was told and things that I heard.
Okay. Were there heard from Jarvis?
No,
Okay. Were these things that you had already known
prior to.
to to thinking that that was Messiah that you saw?
I'm sorry, I'm confused on the question.
So are these things the sources that you have for these reasons? Are they like things that you have personal knowledge of, or are they things that somebody told you about?
These were things that I was told. I'm trying to understand the question that you're asking me.
Ms. Ripley, you're referring to the question before we went into sidebar about her leading up to believing that it was possibly Naziah Harris at the shop, correct?
Yes.
Does that help clarify
Okay,
the line of questioning?
yes.
Okay. So those reasons, those things, are those things that you had known before? Are they based on your observations, or?
Well, these were things that I was told. And after asking the questions that I needed to ask, I came up with the conclusion that it was a possibility that Naziah was the little girl that I saw that day.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna let it play out.
You said that when you were parked at Jarvis's shop, that it was getting dark out.
Yes,
Okay. That darkness, is that maybe the reason why the color on the jacket stood out?
well, the jacket didn't stand out until I was walking into the gas station behind her because I wasn't really like paying attention to what she had on. I just kept seeing her get in and out of the truck, going in the gas station and coming back to the truck. And that's what caught my attention.
Okay, so the movement is what attracted you to it at first.
Yes.
Okay.
Somebody said 39. 39 that's the ending. 39:45. Okay, let's see. I thought they were all in the courtroom though. Let's see. Now I did just see her say something. Yeah, but she probably was talking to somebody in the crowd right there. The scene I'm talking about, it was close to her face, like the rest of the testimony was. Again, I'm gonna just post it to my shorts. I'm gonna go ahead and get up off here. It's been almost 4 hours. Your girl is tired, and I got about 2 hours before I gotta get up and get these children ready for school. So yeah, y'all. I will see y'all later. Y'all have a good night. Um And let me know what y'all think in the comments, y'all. If you find it, like I said, don't hesitate. Send me the timestamp. But I probably been and found it. Actually when I get off here. I'm gonna look. But anyway, it's been real, y'all. Thank y'all for y'all thoughts on this. We're gonna dive into some more stuff later on. And yeah. So y'all be waiting for that clip. All right, Batman. And I'll see y'all soon. Much love. Thank y'all for the support. Thank y'all for the like, share, comments, cash apps, donations in whatever way that you can. I appreciate all of that. She said, I'm on my phone looking good night. I ain't gonna be able to rest without knowing. All right, Robin. See y'all.